The fog's kept most of it down.
Yeah, I imagine it has. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine it has too. Yeah. Hi,
Yeah.
YouTube. Welcome to another episode of Beer Dweebs United. Tonight we're starting off with myself, with Mr. Lee from Hoogly's whatever he wants to do now because he's retired reviews, and Nicholas from Maxwell Stars Beer Reviews. So first and foremost, what are you guys drinking tonight?
You can go first, Nick.
All right, I'm gonna crack the top off of this thing. Three-eyed raven from Omegang.
Oh, we haven't even gotten that here in Ontario yet.
Yeah. Well, this is the first of the Game of Thrones beers we've ever seen in Indy. Just fucking cool.
Nice. I'm just drinking a simple, plain old Garrison nut brown ale. So.
Yeah, nice, nice. Well, you know what? That'll decide what I'm going to drink first, because you're drinking a nut brown ale. I'm going to drink the White Oat Savant from Cameron's.
Cool. Is that from the spring?
No, I picked this one up. Well, probably was brewed in the spring, but I picked it up just a few days ago.
So we're gonna suck on some nuts together. That's great.
I was going to send it out to Lee in the beer mail I just sent him, but his package was so packed it wasn't funny.
The package was so big.
I sent out 3 beer mails that day, and each one of them was like 10 kilograms.
Holy shit!
Wow, that's gonna be expensive.
Yeah, it was. But I had to get a check to BC in 3 days, and it cost me more to send that check to BC in 3 days than to send like 25 pounds of beer to everybody.
Shit.
Wow.
No, that's a single package. It costs more than the furthest package. It costs more than Lee's package to get out to BC in a day. Well, in 3 days. It's a fucking letter. It doesn't take up any space.
Is that like priority or express post?
Fuck, I don't know. What's their three? They change the names of everything all the time. What is their 3-day mailing? Is it priority? I think it's priority.
Yeah.
I brought it in on Tuesday because Monday was a holiday, and I'm like, this needs to get there by Friday. Well, it'll be $35.95.
I know with parcels, it's like there are 2-day turnarounds express post, but depending upon how far it needs to go, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Well, packages, for instance, and I know we're just talking about things that nobody cares about right now, but the packages, on average, were about $25 to send out. But if I wanted to guarantee it gets there by Friday, which, in all honesty, most of the time, if I mail on Monday or Tuesday, as long as Niagara Falls and Mississauga don't fuck the dog, it gets to you guys by Friday. Usually, one of the two will fuck the dog, though. But $25 to send the package out normally. Like $75 plus tax to get it there by Friday. Like, yeah, 25 is good.
Yeah, that's more than sufficient.
Anyway, there's still 0 viewers anyway, so it doesn't matter. But in all honesty, there's not much for just random beer news as we normally do to begin the show off. The only real thing from just random beer news out there right now is Full Beard Brewing is planning to open in Timmins. Timmins has never had a brewing company yet, so it's great for them when it happens, if it happens. It's being founded by Jonathan St. Pierre, owner of the local draft supply and servicing company Tappet. Working together with a cousin, St. Pierre hopes to open Full Beard within the next 18 months, and has plans for a brewery, retail store, and tasting room with a patio. Well, those first 3 are basically the plans for everybody. The company is preparing to apply for loans and grants to fund the brewery, and is fundraising with a T-shirt sales and a crowdsourcing campaign to raise $30,000 in seed money in order to qualify for grants from the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund. For more details, see the full thing. Yeah, so will they open? Who knows? It's good if they do. Their logo is better than some places' logos, which is a beer stein as the back of the head and a beard on the beer stein.
Check these guys out real quick. Full Beard Brewing, you say?
Yeah, Full Beard Brewing Company.
Yeah. I see Beards Brewing, but I don't see Full Beard anywhere.
Beards Brewery, Red Beard Brews, Long Beard Brewing Co.
They're going to get sued.
A lot of beard brewing.
Yeah,
Other
I guess.
Full Beard Brewing in Timmins. Yeah, there's the Canadian Beer News article.
Ah,
Yeah. Hopes to open a full beard within 18 months as a plan for a brewery, just like what Chad said. They must be that new that they've got their name. They're probably working on getting their beer license and stuff like that. They're in planning.
oh, you're right.
Probably
Their logo is kind of cool. That is a cool logo. I like that.
Yeah, it's a better logo than a lot of the newer breweries have. Oh yeah, we have our first viewer. Good day, viewer.
Hey, viewer.
Yeah.
Just lead checking for comments.
Yeah, probably. Oh.
Probably. I noticed they upgraded some of the aesthetics of the Google videos and Hangouts and stuff now, so it's probably slowing everything down and fucking everything up again.
Google fuckery.
Yep.
That was a good nut. That was a good nut. I really like this beer. I really like the price tag on this beer. And it's just a nice session beer, especially under 5% alcohol, so you can just drink it all night long.
Beer Snobs United posted in the comments saying he forgot how to join.
Oh, I don't even know how to join things. To be honest with you, the reason I don't join a lot of Hangouts is because I don't know. It took me a while to figure out how to fucking start one, let alone join one. But yeah, so I guess we can move on to some beer topics since there's nothing else going on. First and foremost, South Sudan's beloved national beer may be the next casualty of its civil war. The maker of South Sudan's homegrown beer, White Bull, one of the country's earliest symbols of independence, is in danger of closing its doors. After 19 months of civil war, the Southern Sudan Beverage Brewery is now strapped for foreign exchange needed to import materials and diesel to run the operation. The brewery has suspended brewing for the moment. First and foremost, the fact that they were able to brew beer for 19 months worth of a civil war is an amazing feat.
Yeah.
Fuck the buildings blowing up down the street. I'm making beer. You know, like that's great. That's great right there. And
we're under house arrest. You might as well brew.
Well, yeah. I mean, the African breweries do make some really cool beers. We don't get many of them here. I think Tusker and Windhoek were the only two I've been able to get my hands on, and they both were really nice beers. So, and none of them were special. They were your basic adjunct lagers, but they were just good. They didn't have the off flavors that a lot of ours have and all that. So, I'm excited for them that they had that. I'm sort of sad that it's leaving, but I'm also excited that again they were able to get materials in for 19 months before they had to stop.
So they're independent, eh? They're not owned by any big guy.
No.
Almost makes you wonder if like AB InBev or someone would try to swoop in and take them while they're in, dire straits.
Yeah, save them right now. Move their facility somewhere else.
Yeah, it'd be a good PR thing for AB InBev, and
or even if they kept the facility there, AB InBev has the money; they could get anything into the country they needed to.
Yeah, they could probably fund a small mercenary force to help help them keep their country and
beer gorillas.
Yeah,
beer.
Beer Snobs United is here. Good day.
Hello, how are y'all doing?
Oh, we're good.
Funky like a monkey.
Not nearly drunk enough.
I'm sure you'll get there, Nicholas.
Oh, yeah.
We all will.
It's going to be Nicholas. He's going to be fucking falling over his ass. I'm gonna be dead sober all night.
Sure you are.
I'm going to be dead sober all night, don't you worry.
Draw on your face drunk.
No.
Our next little story here is, I guess we can hold that off until and see if Matt joins later on. How about this? The Brewers Association names Elysian co-founder Dick Cantwell, its quality ambassador. So that's actually pretty awesome for him. You know, he was the head brewer of Elysian, gets a big payout from AB InBev when they buy up, and then he goes out and gets a nice new job title, quality ambassador of the Brewers Association.
Yeah, he's a pod person now. It's pretty good.
There. Oh, reviewing the influences here.
Yeah, and he needs to mute his, Mr. Jordan. Headphones going.
Anyway, for anyone that doesn't know, the Brewers Association is a not-for-profit lobbying group for the craft beer movement. I'll get on to craft beer later because of another news article that I have posted. But yeah, it's great for them. They have a person who has been a face in the craft beer industry for a long time, and who abandoned ship as soon as his brewery was bought. So it's kind of cool. Good on them. He has been a good He has been a good member of the craft beer environment and culture. So that's great.
Was he the one who? Yeah, he was the one who decided to leave because he didn't want to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, everything works out in the end.
Yeah. And I'm sure when he left, when they sold it, he probably had to sign a non-competition clause.
Oh yeah.
That's the way it usually goes. So this is a good way to get paid and still not be competing, because you're an ambassador on a lobbying board. You're not brewing at all.
I don't know. When Anheuser they bought Goose Island, the guys who owned that, they went right down the street and they opened up Off Color. So, and that's a fantastic brewery. So, I'm not so sure that they actually do the whole non-competition.
See, that would just be stupid of them. That would be bad business.
Or it's a future investment for more breweries for them to buy.
Yeah.
They know they sold once. What'll stop them from selling again?
Or they made the mistake once, and now everybody has to do the non-competition clause. Because there's even craft breweries here in Ontario that when they hire a brewmaster, they make the brewmaster sign a non-competition clause for so many years after he leaves.
Who knows? But all I know is that when they left Goose Island and went ahead and made Off Color, I think they ended up doing a much better job, because Off Color has some amazing brews.
Yeah, I've never had anything from Off Color, so I can't speak on it.
Yeah, I don't think they have a huge distro.
No, there's a lot of little breweries in the U.S. and that have such little distribution that it's sad, and you always hear great things about them, and then you never get your chance to get them, and it's a sad thing.
Yeah, that's been my life the past couple of months. I moved to a more central location, so I'm able to drive around and visit all these little breweries. So it's been pretty nice working out for me.
Well, that's great to hear. That is great to hear.
I was. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what are Beer Snobs United and Reviewing Under the Influence drinking tonight?
I'll go ahead. I'm drinking Sour in the Rye from the brewery Taru. Sent to me in a beer mail from my friend Elliot. So, Elliot, if you're watching, thank you.
Coronado's Idiot IPA.
Nice.
And then some beer Jelly Bellies.
Ooh, nice. Is that those draft flavors?
Yeah.
I just did a review on that. I'm posting it up this weekend. How did you feel about those?
Well, I had one. I guess that's the good thing about IPAs is they overpower shit like this. But
it tastes like soap, in my opinion. While I was eating, I was like, this tastes like straight soap.
yeah, they're not very good.
No, not at all.
Oh, frick.
Shit, I don't know if I still have it, but mine came in like a little tiny beer bottle. It's pretty funny.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I just had a bit of a taste of I once drank a flat MGD. Kind of how that tastes.
Yeah, I can see that.
A flat MGD. You're really selling me on that. You're really selling me on these candies right now, guys.
I came up with a brilliant idea for it, though, and I'm going to submit the video to the official Jelly Belly channel or whatever the hell they have. My idea is, they say it epitomizes the flavor of beer. I say screw that, because you obviously didn't do that well. So how about this? Come up with hop flavors, you know, like you could do a Citra and make it all orangey, or you could do Chinook, grapefruity, all that different stuff. I told them they got 1 month before I go into business for myself.
What are there's that. Wow, what the hell is its name? There's a candy company that makes hop candies. Me and Joe reviewed some of them. They did a Cascade and they did Fuggles and a few others. I can't even remember the name of it. I don't.
I'm eating it right now.
You're eating Jelly Bellies. That's what I'm talking about. Nobody likes Jelly Bellies.
Googling it or whatever.
Yeah, it's a hop something. Fuck.
Is it called Bee Hoppy?
That's it, Bee Hoppy. Yeah, they make a bunch of little hop candies, and they actually have the flavor of the hops pretty good on them.
Well, Jelly Belly, again, y'all have 1 month before I go into business for myself. Can't be that hard. There's no way it could be that hard.
It would just be getting the mixtures right to do it properly, like the sweetness to bitterness balancing. That's all they'd have to do.
Well, okay, so I did a little research, and the shell of a jelly or any jelly bean is really just confectionery sugar and food dye. So you take the confectionery sugar, you take I was thinking either make some hop concentrate or maybe you know those hop oils that they sell for home brewers you can just squeeze in. Maybe take that and figure out the right, like you were saying, the right ratio of that with sugar and whatever else, gelatin, and then just roll it around some confectionery sugar, freeze it. It might not be as pretty as store-bought, but I mean, I bet I could find some people around here who'd be interested in giving it a try.
Yeah, you'll always have beer nerds that are interested in giving it a try. It'll always happen. I like the Bee Hoppy candies. They're actually fairly expensive for what you get, but people are willing to give it a try. I was.
Oh, imagine. This liquor store down the street, it has like bitter for like you know, mixed drinks, liquor and stuff, and they came out with a hop one, and it is selling off the stores at like $20 a bottle just because it has hops on it. So. Yeah, it's funny how the beer community buys
like
things.
Like a liqueur?
What's that?
Like a liqueur?
Yeah.
Or what?
Like bitter. The bitter liqueur. I'll see if I can find it online.
I don't mind hop meads.
Yeah, bitter liqueur with hops. Yeah, it's from Bittermans. But $20 a bottle, and they're selling off the shelves like crazy.
How many ounces and how strong?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't tried it, but the bottle it can't be much bigger than the distance between my thumb and middle finger. It's not big at all.
Yeah, bitters are just used as additions to things, and they're usually fairly small, usually like between 1 and 5 fluid ounces. Usually they're also about 40% alcohol.
Yep.
Yeah.
So whether or not that's up at the same ABV level, I don't know, but it shouldn't be more than 5 or 6 ounces.
Yeah, but it's just funny, to sell anything now, all you gotta do is put a hop on it or the word IPA, and boom, gone, instant profit.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be good, and people are going to buy it. It just has to make them think it's going to be good.
Exactly.
Now, I'm sure the whole panel here knows what a Cicerone is, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, for those of you watching that don't know, a Cicerone is basically a beer sommelier. Not exactly the same, but basically a beer sommelier. There are 3 levels. There was 3 levels. There was level 1, level 2, level 3 originally, but now it is certified beer server, certified Cicerone, certified master Cicerone. Well, just this week, an email came out from the Cicerone certification program that they are bringing out a 4th level that will go between Cicerone and master Cicerone. Now, it says that the people that have a Cicerone certification wanted an intermediate step before going to master. I don't know if they really did or not. The numbers are like this. Okay, this is why I don't know how many of them really cared. But there is 54,886 certified beer servers. There is 1,878 Cicerones and 10 Master Cicerones worldwide. So I don't know how many people really wanted an intermediate step, or how much money he just wanted to pocket. Now, taking the Cicerone test is about $395. To take the Master Cicerone test is $875. So what will the cost be of the intermediate step? Who knows? Say in the middle, $500, $600. So if 1,800 people jump out to pay that $600, that's a lot of money he's putting in his pocket, right there.
Yeah, I read the same article, or I read an article on this, and a lot of it had a couple quotes from some people who hold the master, and they were like, I took it 4 times, and I really wish there was an intermediate level just because of the knowledge gap. But I felt kind of the same way. Maybe it was just a money grab.
Well, here's the thing, right? How many people that have a Master Cicerone degree are making any money out of it that is worthwhile? Marilla Amata could have made her money without a Master Cicerone degree. She just went and got it so that she had it. Everybody I know, like I know 3 of the Master Cicerones, they only have it just to have it. It's not helping them in any way. It's just to have it.
I agree. The only person memorable from the article I read was the head brewer at the brewery in California, and I mean, he's already making a fantastic living. I don't think his certification is really benefiting him any more than his brewery is.
No, and I mean that's what it really comes down to. How much help is a Cicerone certificate? Maybe 20 years from now, being a Master Cicerone will be huge, because maybe there'll be bars that are, well, I shouldn't say bars, high-end restaurants that will have a Cicerone on site that does the exact same thing as a sommelier comes out. These would be the beers that would best pair with this. This beer is a 1800 vintage of this. You might have that years down the road. Right now, you really don't. Have I done the testing? I did the beer certification, like the beer server certification. I'm one of the 56,000. I've talked about doing the Cicerone over and over again because my work will pay for it if I pass. But really, do I need that to make myself feel like I know what I'm talking about? No. Do some people need me to have that to think that I know what I'm talking about? Sure, some people want you to have those pieces of paper. But if you read what the tests are, really, it's can you differentiate styles? Even a guy with a BJCP level, like a first level BJCP, can differentiate styles. Can you differentiate the different off flavors? Again, even a BJCP guy can do that. And lastly, can you answer a bunch of short essay questions and do some food pairings? Anyone can do that stuff without paying $400 for it.
Yeah, but I think it comes down to exactly like what you said. Some people, like the more elitist snobbies, they just kind of want to see that. Do you have a Cicerone? I've been to tap houses where people are talking about, like, asking the servers there, hey, do you have a Cicerone? Like, no one gives a fuck.
There's 1,800 Cicerones in the world. No, they don't have a Cicerone.
Nah, I'm talking like any of the levels.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, anytime you just hear Cicerone, this is what the Cicerone program wanted. The reason they changed the name of the first level to certified beer server is so that person couldn't say he's a Cicerone. That's the only reason they changed the name.
Well, I kind of agree with that, because I mean, you can't have somebody who's training to be a sommelier say, hey, I'm a somm, It gives the wrong impression.
Yeah. However, sommelier levels are all that. Sommelier level 1, sommelier level 2, sommelier. So he actually at level 1 can say he's a sommelier, technically. I have a bunch of people at work that are actually going to school for sommelier training, and it's a lot of money for weird things. It's all taste, and taste is subjective. Really, it makes me kind of giggle when people do this because anybody can make a food pairing, anybody can taste a beer, anybody can taste a wine, and it just matters what you're tasting and whether or not you can figure out what that should go with. But again, you could be the best you could be a master sommelier. You could be the #1 sommelier in the world and say this wine will pair with this food, and somebody can eat it and drink it and not like that pairing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all subjective. I don't know. I just registered last week or the week before for the Cicerone website, and I'm looking into taking the first level.
The first level you can pass the first level in an hour.
I had the same thought process you did. You know, I think the first level test is $70. You get 2 opportunities within a year, I think, to take it. But it all comes down to, like, does having any type of certification, is it going to validate myself anymore, or people who watch my channel, are they going to automatically think higher of me because I have it? I don't think so. I think it's more of a do it to feel good about yourself type thing right now.
And I really do think the main reason for the intermediate level is a money grab, because more people will be willing to jump and try and get that intermediate level Cicerone certificate than the master. And that, I mean, if you look at the stats, 46 people in the last 6 years have taken the test. They can take 25 people a year. 46 people in the last 6 years have taken it. 2 people have passed. So I'm pretty sure he's thinking that if he makes an intermediate level, maybe 800 and 900 people will take that intermediate level instead of nobody.
Yeah, but I mean, does that opens up the doorway to, if all these people are able to get intermediate, that means that they're that much closer to getting master. Is master going to become easier to obtain, or is that gonna saturate the market of master cicerones, or is it still just going to be just as difficult to get it? Because I kind of like the idea of it being an elite society, you know, even though I'm not a part of it and I have no real aspirations to be, but I kind of like the idea of somewhere out there there's an elite circle of superior beer reviewers.
Yeah, that's Dave, the beer professor. Mr. Thoreau wants the invite.
What? I'll be back in a bit.
I'll be here. Sorry, I just was doing something.
They're drinking without you.
Yeah, so that's basically where that whole article stems. They are making that intermediate. Again, I'm going to get maybe $500 to $600. More people will take it, but as you said, will it make the Master Cicerone less elite? Possibly, if more people get it. I mean, again, 10 people in the world have that certification. Yeah. And I mean, people are saying that Cicerone isn't that elite of a group, but I don't know. With the world population, I think 1,800 people is a pretty elite little group too.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, if you look at, have y'all seen that documentary on Netflix? Y'all would probably enjoy it. It's called Somm. If no one's seen it, it's the journey of 4 young gentlemen who are they're on their adventure to become master somms, and it's hella impressive watching the training that they do, the actual tests and certification. It's really cool, and I think there's a massive community, figuratively speaking, of somms out there, master somms, and as of right now, it just seems like the beer Cicerone masters, they're a little bit more exclusive, and it seems like our test is a little harder too.
Well, I mean, you also have to remember for the Master Psalms, you went to college. You went through a whole bunch of years of college and stuff to get to that. Where this thing is, you can do the first level online. The second level is done a couple places a year, and it takes a few hours. And then the Master the Master Cicerone test is 2 days in Chicago. Chicago only. 2 days in Chicago. 25 people a year can take the test. So I mean, it's a much more exclusive group. Also, beer is still looked down on by a lot of people. Where why would it need this type of thing?
Yeah.
And I mean, it probably will be looked down on like that for years to come because beer's majority is still the BMC stuff. Again, nothing against BMC stuff if that's what you like to drink. A lot of their beers have some of the best quality assurance and quality control out there. Not really my thing. I like some of them. Not really my thing, though. But with that being the thing that people think of when you say beer, that's why people are like, well, why would a Cicerone be needed?
Oh no, I'm currently living in old wine country, right? So lots of wine lovers. A guy I work with, he's a big wine fanatic, and I told him, I was like, oh, blah blah blah, yeah, I do beer reviews on this stuff, and he was like, beer reviews? What does that look like? Sit in front of a camera and crack open a can and just chug it and say I like it, I'm drunk. It's so funny how the beer, as big as I like to think the beer community is, how people still view it.
Well, I'd say the wine community is pretty fucking insular. It's been my experience that a lot of them are. They don't know anything outside of their own sphere of expertise. For the most part.
I showed him a picture. I drink all my beers out of a snifter, and he was like, "Is that a brandy snifter? Oh, that's a waste of a glass." Blah blah. I'm like, dude, why are you being so derogatory towards something I enjoy? And I tried to explaining him how different glasses accentuate different parts and all this stuff, and they refuse to hear it.
Yeah, they don't want to hear that. Hey, there's actually more styles of beer, and they're far more complex than any wine you could find.
Yeah.
Go figure.
You can have your fizzy. What was it that in the Bud commercial, that peach rhubarb beer or something?
The peach pumpkin,
Peach
brewed the
pumpkin.
hard way.
You can have your fizzy Kool-Aid in a box down in the corner if you want.
Enormous tanks.
No.
Anyway, how you doing there, Jay?
Hey, Jay, how are you, Jay?
Hey, bud.
Hello, folks.
What are you drinking? Are you drinking Pacifico?
All the beer snobs out there. Hey,
Yeah, hey.
Oh yeah.
hey, I'm just stealing somebody's outro line. I am about to go get a bottle of Hackershore Weiss.
Nice. I actually like that one.
Yeah, it's quite good.
I've been noticing a little problem with Google Plus tonight. It seems like it keeps bugging out, like talking, and it's like pip, 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 pip.
They did some upgrades over the last day or so, so it's probably going to be fucked for the next little
So
while.
it's not me; it's a system thing.
Yeah,
Most likely.
It's not you, it's Google.
Now this beer said it was best before March, and we'll see how it is.
Wow.
It's the last winter Weiss that I had sitting around.
Somebody posted something that Anheuser-Busch is abandoning born-on dates.
See, and here's the thing. I actually just reviewed a beer last night from Silversmith. Now, Silversmith's bottles usually are best before is what they say on the back normally. Best before, blah, blah, blah. And this bottle, and I was at Silversmith, and I bought about 8 different Silversmith beers for my beer mails. And all the beers except for this one style were best before, and this one was bottled on. Really, especially with a single brewery, make your choice of what you're doing. Is it going to be bottled on, or is it going to be best before? Really, I would personally like a best before more than a bottled on. I know Greg might come in and shoot me or run me over with his motorcycle, but I would rather see a best before date just so I have an idea how, because most beers, their best before date is going to be set to about 6 months. Most beers, 3 to 6 months, mattering where you're from. Macro beers, usually, like the beer store says it's a year. So you can get an idea of when it was bottled, and you can actually decide how long to sit on it yourself, and you can decide if you want to age it. You can decide whatever you want. Bottled on dates for me just turn into that. Check the back of the shelf. Find the fresh stuff. Like it's.
Yeah, I wonder.
You can do the same thing with reverse engineering.
True.
I prefer the Best Buy date.
I personally. Go ahead, sir.
I was going to say, I wonder how much Budweiser actually goes to waste. Like, even though it's a crappy beer in my opinion, it is a really great seller, and it is still the basically the most popular beer in the United States or whatever. So I wonder how much of that stuff goes to waste. I wonder if they even give a fuck about dates anymore because they figure they're going to sell most of it.
Well, up here we get Budweiser and Lucky shipments of that in like once in a while, and it sells out often, like within a month usually.
And what gets wasted? I wonder how much of it is still perfectly fine because, like I said, I have my little test. My 2.4 is running out, and my 2.4 is a 12-year experiment. I open a bottle every 6 months from that 2.4 macro beer, and it's still perfectly fine, like 4.5 years in. So,
you know what the distributor told me this past week?
What's that?
I apologize for interrupting.
No worries.
He said that, okay, first of all, Anheuser-Busch is really strict about the dates, okay? Let me turn this down. We're getting an echo out here. He said they're really strict about dates, and but what they do is they send out an alert to each other. If the Anheuser-Busch people are snooping around, checking dates, they hurry up and go in the store before they get there, and they pull all the stuff that's problematic. And then once the AB people leave, they put it back on the shelf. Secondly, he said usually the distributor will get a bunch of short-dated beers and sell it to them for cheap, and they'll buy it. Like I'm talking about the guys that work for the beer distributor.
Yeah, I could easily see that.
And he says it's fine. They buy it cheaply, so they drink it. It's like no big deal.
Well, I mean, a beer won't really expire. It might turn to vinegar if there was a bacteria in it and all that. A beer can last. Fuck, we drank beer with chunks growing in it because the yeast globules had turned into full-on protein globules. Like it's still okay. It's not as good anymore.
Yeah. Two things. One, I'd like the bottled on date because when you have Best Buy, it's up to brewers' discretion when it's Best Buy, and here in Virginia, they'll put the Best Buy date a little farther than I think it should be because that's when they decide to rotate stock and take stuff off the shelf. So they can have an IPA sit there on the shelf for 6 months and turn into a malt bomb or something like that, then they will because it's less they have to actually do in store. Two, about a month ago, I drank a 10-year-old Budweiser, and I gotta say that Budweiser, it greatly improves with age.
Wow.
Fantastic.
So what you're saying is that my test is not long enough.
I mean, I didn't have a stock of Bud sitting around. Somebody sent it to me like I dare you to drink it. Okay. And I gotta say that this Budweiser was brewed in 2005. If poured into the glass, when you smelled it and when you tasted it,
Excuse me.
it could kill some blondes, some heifas. It developed character. It had banana notes. It was just so much more flavorful, so much more aromatic that it could put honestly some craft brewers to shame how much it changed. I swear to God. It was amazing. I had the review up on my channel if y'all want to see it.
I have a 40-year-old Labatt Blue over there if you want to drink that.
Ooh, I'll drink it. Send it to me, buddy. I'll drink it.
This Hacker Shore beer.
Did y'all ever hear of
4 months out of date, but it tastes fine to me.
I think it was called Buddy Beer? Something like that. It was by one of our president's brother.
Billy Beer.
Billy Beer, that's
Jimmy
it.
Carter's
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah, my great grandma has a 6-pack sitting in the shelf, and she said that's in the will for me.
There's a Billy beer bottle on that shelf back there.
Nice. Yeah, but I got a 6-pack coming to me sometime, so I'll be drinking that. See how it changed.
Wow.
I don't know. I try to sell that on eBay.
I mean, in all honesty, you're going to get everybody. Everybody will have a different opinion on what type of date should be on there, but really, I think the industry as a whole should get together and decide one or the other. Is it, or at the very least, like I said, a company shouldn't be doing both. It should be one or the other. But I would really like the industry to come together and say one or the other. and
I
that's
think
it.
they'll end up settling on, if they did, it would be best before, whether you like it or not, because
Yeah, it gives them more freedoms.
it just makes them deal with the actual retailers better. That's the bottom line.
Hey, here's that Budweiser can, by the way.
That's beautiful.
I don't know if y'all can see the date, but it's February 2005.
Oh, that's those throwback cans.
Yeah, this was the throwback can. Yeah.
Lee, I want to tell you something. Before I was coming on, when I was doing my Pacifico examination, I was contacted by a beer professor that wanted to do a video hangout.
Nice.
A beer professor, and my nose tells me that hangout had something to do with a whole bunch of, well, stuff.
Yeah, I saw some small inklings earlier this week on Facebook about what the beer professor was up to. So yeah.
Yeah, you know what? We're Lee. You said it best. This segment of Beer Tube's little culture here, we should just stick clear of the drama llamas and just not worry about it anymore.
I agree. Albino Rhino, but I'm just going to say this. If they find my body out behind by the dumpsters, then y'all know what happened. So I just want people to know that if I am murdered within the month, we know what happened. That's all. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up. I just want not a paper trail, but a video trail to lead back so they can,
Well, I'll just say this.
I'm a little scared.
I'll just say that my last words on this are Grandpa is all talk, and he just wants to drum up controversy to get views on his channel, and as long as you don't play into it, you have nothing to worry about.
Okay, I know y'all don't want to talk about the drama and all that stuff, but I have no clue what's going on. I've been out of touch.
I've named no names, my friends. I've just said.
You know what? You should just be glad you're out of touch. I get videos sent to me now too, so I get to see everything that is going on, and it's just stupid. And everything that goes on pulls more people from the fringes, more people from the weird fringe portions of beer culture into it, and
right, that's right. Hey, where's Marvin?
See, Jay, he picks on easy targets. Don't make yourself an easy target for him. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I don't want to be a target. Hey, where's Marvin?
I don't know. Hey, the last time we saw Marvin, he was
going to his party with his young girls.
No. I think the last time we saw him was the one where he was driving.
Yes.
Like a week ago or so, he was driving to a dope deal or something like that. He said, and then we never heard from him again, which kind of makes me a little worried. Because he is in Jamaica, and there are some gangs in Jamaica, so I don't know what's going on. But
yeah, where's April? April did not hang out too long. I was very disappointed. 10 minutes is no good. It wasn't even 10 minutes. I want April.
Well, she said we weren't very entertaining in her video the next day.
There was an April?
That girl that joined last week that you were talking to while I was pissing in the sink.
Oh, really? I don't even remember that.
I didn't know that. April was drinking Bud Ice. I was fascinated. And then it all just it ended so quickly.
I think we're too crass for any female beer drinkers.
Well, I was trying to monitor. I was trying to watch what was going on.
I was trying to find out if you were watching so I could drop your daughter's hot comments, but you weren't around.
So you say it to his face.
Exactly. Now he's here.
Dad knows I monitor all these videos.
I'm watching you.
Last week there was someone called April on.
Yes,
wow, you were all fucking drunk, eh?
I was very drunk. I was drinking all day.
I was up there.
Yeah, that was really disturbing. Lee was really. It kept deteriorating as the video went on, and this thing went on for 4 hours. So I'm at home. I'm folding clothes. I'm doing this and that, and I'm saying, "Wow, this is really going into like another level of."
That's why I'm behaving myself this week.
You're doing a great job, and I'm very impressed. Are y'all picking up an echo on my audio? Echo.
Not really.
Okay, I'm hearing it, but if you're not picking it up, that's good because we weren't getting a bit. We have not gotten a bit of echo in a month or 2 months on my Hangouts at all. And I know some of the people are using inadequate, equipment, but we were not getting echo. And you know that little bugging thing I was talking about, the audio going tit 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 tit, that has suddenly stopped. But I suspect it will return.
Well, depending on how Google service interacts with different internet connections and stuff around the country, you're definitely going to get different results. So
the most comical thing was that last month they invited me to do a Google in-service on how to use technology better and to make your channel better. And so the lady that was hosting it, she says, here I am from California. When you're doing these videos, what you want do, and I'm like, what the hell? They're showing us how to use technology, and they can't even get it to work right. So and they said, well, Cheryl has to get off now, and she'll return when her echo problem stops. Well, she never returned. So I'm thinking, wow, this is so primitive. I think the technology we're using today is so primitive.
Google really, their Hangouts, like, they are a bit more secure, like, they seem to be a bit more stable than, like, Skype and stuff like that, but they really do demand, like, a lot of resources to run, so...
Oh, so the other platforms are really weak?
Skype is terrible. I've always found Skype to be terrible. That's why I switched over to using Google Hangouts to record the podcast that I do. We were doing it on Skype for a while, but it was just a pain in the ass because every time we did it, our audio tracks would be out of sync, so I'd have to spend like 4 or 5 hours just syncing up tracks and getting everything all sorted out. With Google Plus, it's just like easy.
Yeah, it's never a problem. Never an audio problem.
Very, very rarely.
You just have problems with people bugging out and echo and kitchen and giddy up.
And usually only when Google does an upgrade.
Yeah, the days after their upgrade is fucked usually.
Oh yeah, it's really bad.
Greg Bylog wants an invite.
Greg Bylog wants an invite, does he? Okay, I'll invite Greg Bylog, and then we will jump into the next topic here, which actually is one that kind of makes me mad, and most of us have enjoyed a beer by this company. And it makes me mad because first off, it's just a get my name out there stunt because it's such old news now, and most of you probably know exactly what news article I'm talking about. And for those of you that don't, here we go. Craft beer credentials are not always what they appear. In the craft beer lover's equivalent of going to school naked nightmare, for years, homebrewer Evan Parent claims he bought Blue Moon beer for friends and family, safe in the knowledge it was independently brewed and handcrafted. But then, horror of horrors, the San Diego beer aficionado, I can't fucking talk right now, says his friends told him he's been sipping from the enemy's cup. Blue Moon is not a craft beer, but rather a mass-produced beer made by Miller Coors, Parent says in a California class action lawsuit.
Fuck.
Through its false and deceptive marketing, the company misleads consumers to believe that Blue Moon is an independently brewed, handcrafted beer.
Okay, so outside of the beer world, this guy would be a candidate for the Darwin Awards. He'd be, the first guy to stick his head in a fucking cannon or something somewhere because he didn't know it was going to shoot.
Here is where I say, drink the beer if it's good, not just because it's local. I do have some local breweries that do not make as good a wheat beer as Blue Moon is. They don't make as many creative beers as Blue Moon does. Yes, originally you might not have known Blue Moon was owned by Miller Coors. They didn't really make it all that noticeable right away unless you went to their website where they'd have it in their listed brands, but they didn't have it on the bottle or box. It's on the bottle and box now, so you're a fucking idiot. Anyway, there is this question of, so what? They purchased the beer, they received the beer, they drank the beer, what's the big deal, says Parent's lawyer. The big deal is, but they charged more for it. You know what? You can charge whatever the fuck you want for your beer. If you pay for it, you pay for it. I've seen macro beers that are more expensive than craft beers. I've seen craft beers that are more expensive than macro beers. I've seen the pseudo-hybrid beers that are more expensive or cheaper. If you don't want to pay it, don't pay it.
This is all silly. It's a non-issue.
Exactly.
That's totally true. Like Corona up here is $16 a 6-pack, and then something like Phillips Hop Circle is $12.50.
And even sillier. Okay, so what they're saying is they charge more for the Blue Moon brand than what? The standard Coors brand? That's fucking stupid. I mean, sorry, that's really dumb, because even if it's from the same company, if you release different products, obviously the different products are going to have different prices.
Yeah, different ingredients.
Exactly. This is silly.
Does Blue Moon not use higher quality ingredients and more ingredients in their beer than Coors does?
Yes.
And that's why it's more expensive. So you have your choice. And it's still Blue Moon if you go to an American store. If you're crossing the border and buying Blue Moon in the U.S., Blue Moon is still cheaper than most craft beers in the U.S. So yeah, you're paying more than, say, Bud, Coors, Miller, that Red Dog, all that stuff. But you're paying less than buying a 6-pack of fucking Dogfish Head or anything.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with Blue Moon either.
Yeah. So this is a lawsuit this guy's trying to.
Yeah, he's doing a class action lawsuit
They
now.
don't want to drink Hoegaarden because it's made by AB InBev.
Yeah.
Well, exactly, and there are people that say that. And
He's the one who bought it. Why is he complaining,
not just bought it, he's bought it for years. It's because now he feels duped and stupid.
Yeah,
because it's a pride issue. His friends make him feel stupid.
Movement is making brewers make better products, and Blue Moon is an example of one of the bigger guys making a better product.
Now, not to make fun of one of the names in this panel, but he is what I would classify as a beer snob. Because it's made by Miller Coors, it has to be crap, and I'm an idiot for buying it.
Yeah.
It's not a bad beer. It doesn't matter who owns it. The only problem I have with who owns it is that all the profits don't stay in the country of origin. That's my only real problem. I do have, again, we've talked about it a lot of times, I do have some problems with the business practices of some of these companies. And one of our articles is something I posted from the government of Canada that we'll talk about later. But, I mean, that's mostly what I get agitated about is some of the business practices. Other than that, if it's a good beer, it's a good beer, drink it. If you like it, it doesn't matter if I think it's a good beer or not. If you like it, drink it. I don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. Do whatever you want.
I don't fucking buy that this guy didn't know. I think it's just a frivolous lawsuit.
Yeah, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Oh, you finished first, Lee. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say. I said I don't buy this. I don't buy the legitimacy of this lawsuit. I think this guy knew, and he's just trying to do a frivolous lawsuit. He thinks he can get away with it, and he's.
Yeah, I wanted to say I think the guy's either stupid or he's lying, and I believe he's lying. He knows it was made by Coors all along. He's trying, like you're saying, to do a frivolous lawsuit to try to shake down Molson Coors because people are litigious and they are out for easy money. Now look, I started drinking beer, craft and macro, in 1996, February '96. Okay, so we're going on 20 years almost. When I started doing that, they already had the internet by 1996, and you could look up who owned the beer. Okay, so there was maybe Coors didn't go over and above to let you know that they own Blue Moon, but it wasn't too difficult to find out who owned Blue Moon. I knew Blue Moon was a Coors product for at least the last, ever since I knew there was a Blue Moon. Why is that? Because I did the research, okay? It is not hard to find out who owns a beer brand.
And the reason I think this is a frivolous lawsuit and the guy thinks he can get away with it is because there is precedent for this sort of thing before. Like, it's sort of within the same realm, although it's not, like actual damages, but it's in the same realm of like that guy who sued. It was either Tim Hortons or McDonald's for getting spilled by their hot coffee because they didn't put hot on the cup. It was like, how did I know it was going to be hot? And then they spilled it on themselves, and then they sued and actually won money. You know, they figured they can just sue and get the company to give them a buyout, you know, like to keep them to shut up.
This is just stupid now, though, because this has all been done before. You have your class action lawsuit about the imported beers. That one I'm behind because, yes, at first they didn't say who it was made by. Well, not by who it was made by, but they didn't tell you at first what country of origin the stuff came from. It was just imported beer. Okay, that one I can understand. This stuff's all been done before. There's been so many news articles, there's been so many news stories on TV and the internet and all that about who owns what. Again, like Jay said, you can find out. Again, like I said earlier, though, 10, 15 years ago, yeah, it was harder to find out, but you could still find out if you wanted to.
Yeah, and look, this goes back so many years to 1978. In 1978, I'll say this real fast. Somebody bought an Oldsmobile, all right? Some guy bought an Oldsmobile car. He didn't have any problems with the car. There was no trouble with it, okay? But eventually he had to do some kind of like, he had to change the oil filter or something like that, right? So he goes to the whatever store he went to, Kmart, he buys the oil filter. He goes to put it on the car, it doesn't fit. Well, he looks real carefully and he finds out that the engine in the Oldsmobile was actually made by Chevy, because what happened was General Motors was running short on Oldsmobile engines that year, so they just said, well, hell, it's almost the same engine anyway, and they put a bunch of Chevrolet engines in these Oldsmobiles. So you know what the guy did, right?
Lawsuit.
What do you do? He goes to court. He sues General Motors because he said General Motors defrauded him because they sold him an Oldsmobile car with a Chevrolet engine. And they said, well, it's the same company. Oh, no, but I thought I was buying all Oldsmobile. So after that, if you notice, all General Motors cars since 1979 model year say, this vehicle may contain parts or engines from other General Motors divisions. Now that guy, isn't that a ridiculous lawsuit?
Well, he just sounds like a little whiny cunt is what he sounds like.
But it's the same thing that Chad's bringing up about this Blue Moon. And they have some really ultra gourmet Blue Moon beers, like the one I've got in my fridge. That's about, you've probably heard of it, huh? The Blue Moon, well, I'll tell you what, I'll go get it. Y'all keep talking, I'll go get it.
Okay, well, he's getting that. Our next story is, what the hell? Who has all the feedback? I was in the other page.
I don't know.
No.
I'm just weirded out about how Jordan keeps switching positions.
So, Big Rock Brewery's 360-degree beer could make you drink faster. Basically, Big Rock Brewing, our Brad's favorite brewery out of Calgary, has been the first brewery in Canada to bring in the peel-off can top. So the same thing that's all over the U.S. now. So you get your can, you peel off the top, it basically becomes a cup. A lot of people are saying that this is great. You're going to drink your beer faster, so you have to buy more. It's a great marketing gimmick. That wouldn't fly in Ontario. That would be against the law here in Ontario. But here's some great. Not all Calgarians agree with this. This Southern Alberta sales manager for Big Rock has been fielding what he claims are some pretty hilarious complaints. One guy called me up and said that it made it so he could no longer place a full beer in his pocket when his arms got tired. I told the customer that Big Rock has never, ever expected someone's arms to get tired working their way through a 355-milliliter can of beer that they'd have to put the beer in their pocket.
Yeah.
Another customer told him that he left his can unattended for 2 minutes, and when he returned, there were 5 flies in his beer. And I said, "Holy hell! Like, where are you? In a manure plant?"
Yeah, he's either in a manure plant or he's living in Australia somewhere.
I mean, flies can get in any beer, even a normal can of beer. The only difference is you don't know it's there.
And you know what? They don't drink much anyway, so what are you complaining about?
Protein.
But who? Okay, listen. Big Rock is supposedly a craft beer. You know, they're still pretty much a craft brewery. How many people who buy Big Rock drink the shit out of the cans? I'm pretty sure most of their customers actually, put it in a fucking glass. And how many flies are you going to get in your fucking big open glass compared to a big open can?
Yeah, just as many. Just as many.
Such bullshit.
So what beer did you go and grab there, Jay?
Stop agreeing with me, Ewart. I'm on to you.
The point of showing this beer is that here's a Blue Moon beer, right? It's made by Coors. Okay, big deal. This beer is about $10 a bottle. It's 9% alcohol. It's made with 100% wheat, and they use Chardonnay grape juice or wine. It's I mean, it can go toe to toe with a whole lot of craft beers, right? But it's made by Miller Coors. It's made by Miller Coors. I feel ripped off. I feel so ripped off. I bought this. This thing cost me a lot of money. I could have bought a 6-pack of Coors for the price of this beer. But hell, it's pretty expensive. Now, a lot of these that Coors does, their graffiti series and this vintage ale collection, I don't know how well they sell because a lot of the craft beer people won't buy them, right? Because they say, well, hell, I know it's Molson Coors. They won't try it. But I've tried a lot of these, and I think they're really exceptional, to tell you the truth. And you can age. It's 9% alcohol wheat beer, 100% wheat. And, you know, most wheat beers are mixed with barley and wheat, right? 60-40 usually. So I wonder what the age. This is already a year, about 2 years old. I guess you could age it for a good while, huh? 9%.
9%? Yeah, probably.
Well, if people are being pissy over this Miller Coors thing, then they should, or AB InBev, whatever, then they should never buy Bourbon County Barrel Stout, whatever.
They probably don't know.
They'll go wait in line at 4 o'clock in the morning for 6 hours because they're getting Bourbon County Stout, man. It's an InBev beer, and it's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
But you'd be surprised at how many people actually don't know that. I think those in the community, they know, and you know that we don't care. But I think a lot of those who don't know, they're like, "Oh my God, you heard of this beer?" And I had a couple people who were jumping on the bandwagon. I was trying to, you know, get them involved, and he was like, "I gotta try this. Everyone's talking about it." And I was like, "You know, that's made by Budweiser, right?" And he was like, "What? No." What? That doesn't make sense. It's just so funny how little people know.
Watch their
It's
head.
so comical. It is so comical.
All right, we do have 2 comments I just want to get to real quick. Beer Zircadian wants an invite, and Doki says, "Hey, you guys are awesome. Hey, Ronald and Chad, glad to say that we can now get Pabst Blue Ribbon and Lone Star now here in Scotland. We can purchase 6-packs of bottles of each or single bottles, and we can now get a 12-pack of 12-ounce cans of PBR. Woohoo! The only bad thing is we can't get the Coors Banquet, Schlitz, Colt 45, or Dos Equis, which sucks because I would love to try them. Although we do have a lot of Innocent Gun. Greetings from Geordie in Scotland, guys."
Well, Jordy, you can get Lone Star and I can't, so there's something.
And let me say this, Jordy. There are a lot of what you would call lower end British beers that I would like to try, like Tennant's Lager, Carling from England. I'm talking about the British version. So don't feel bad. There's a lot of lower end British products I would like to try, and I cannot get them. So we're in the same boat in a way.
Now, I'm just going to say this. I should have sent this to you, too, Lee. I didn't because I didn't think it was going to be good anymore. This has been sitting in my fridge for like 2 months. And it's my last bottle of Bronin from High Road Brewing. And it's actually better now aged than it was fresh. And fresh, I gave it like a 9.25 out of 10.
Wow. Where is that from?
High Road Brewing here in Ontario. Right now they're brewing at Niagara College.
Niagara
Can
College.
you buy it at the gift shop?
No, you can't get it anywhere unless you get it in kegs at like you can buy it at restaurants. I had a 6-pack dropped off to review, and I brought a bottle up to Dale and Guy, and I sent a bottle to a friend of mine. And I gave a bottle to my neighbor, and I had this. I forgot all about this bottle until I just pulled it out of the fridge tonight. And
Hey Chad, did you see all? Did y'all see all those beers that the German guy sent me from Schleswig-Holstein?
no, your video is on my watch later type of thing, but
He sent me 14 very expensive beers from Germany, and well, one of them was from England, Thornbridge Hall Brachia. And,
that's a great one.
The Brachia, it was awesome. My daughter thought she was going to have a nervous breakdown when she drank it. It was too intense for her, but I think she would give it a second go. But she was like going berserk when she drank that beer. But he sent 14 beers. 3 of them were destroyed in the shipping, unfortunately, because I think the company dropped the box and they busted open 3 bottles, and they hurried up and sealed it back with some shipping tape. Because when I got it, the box was all loose and everything, and then I opened it up and it was wet. Everything was wet with broken glass and beer everywhere. But I did save 11 of the 14, and they were just really outstanding. These are beers that most of them have like 1 review on Beer Advocate, or maybe 2 reviews, and there's hardly any video reviews, but it's really an exciting little adventure that I've been going on with all these beers that got sent to me. So it's really exciting when you have a viewer that says, I like watching your videos so much, I want to send you a bunch of beers.
Yeah, it's always great for that. It is. I've made a lot of good trading partners that way. More and more trading partners I get, though, the more and more it's hard to get things to send to them. That's why this set of beer mails I did was all just the Niagara region. I hit up all the Niagara breweries, except for Brimstone, because all they had bottled was stuff I didn't care to send anyway. And yeah, I hit them all and sent some stuff out.
Yeah, I did receive a bunch of Lone Star beer, but that was because I made a mistake on YouTube. It was embarrassing. But I did appreciate the beer from Pabst Brewing Company.
Nice, nice. So our next topic is something that, again, goes back to Blue Moon, and it goes back to a lot of breweries, and it actually... I've said this before, that it's not all camaraderie like everybody thinks it is. But anyway, I'm going to say a cautionary tale for all brewers. If you're ever going to try and get your beer international, do your international trademarks right up in front. Anyway, the title of this article is That Old Belgian Mood and Why You Should Register Your Trademarks. Let's just jump down here. I'm going to read an excerpt from this, and then I'm going to give you some more background information, and then we can talk about it. Anyway, the Old Belgian Moon fiasco is a great cautionary example. Blue Moon was developed in Colorado in 1995. Now, regardless of whatever Keith Villa says in his interviews, Blue Moon was a Coors property. It was originally brewed at Coors Field in the Sandlot Brewery. It has always been owned by Coors, and it was never independent. I'm not saying that to disparage the beer. Incidentally, the beer is fine. I'm saying that because I want to impress upon you that very large brewing company did not do due diligence. As a wholly owned subsidiary, the Blue Moon trademark should have been registered throughout North America at that point. Who knows why they didn't in 1995? The market wasn't so crowded. Maybe they never dreamed that they'd sell so much beer. After all, it was only a ballpark brewery. Maybe they were distracted by a Larry Walker dinger. The problem is that you can't see the future and you don't know what will happen. According to records at the Canadian Intellectual Property Office, no one registered Blue Moon until 2006. Unfortunately for Blue Moon, it wasn't Molson Coors. Molson and Coors only entered into partnership in 2005, and apparently it didn't occur to them at that time to register the trademark in both countries. This is incidentally poor oversight because it allows the following to happen. A company called Ontario 2008474 registered the Blue Moon trademark in Canada. That company is also known as Toronto's Amsterdam Brewery. It's not just that they registered Blue Moon. They registered Firestone and Fat Tire. Subsequently, Ontario 2008474 would stymie Goose Island's initial marketing foray into Canada by registering and using several 3-digit area codes to prevent a rebrand of 312 Urban Wheat for Canadian markets. 416 Urban Wheat didn't exist for no reason. Neither does Sweetwater Squeeze Radler. It's a very clever tactic. If you own the Canadian trademark for a larger competition in another country, you've bought yourself time and reduced your local competition. You might claim it's unsportsmanlike, but so is buying up shelf space. So that's where I'm going to leave that. But I mean, this is what I said. It's not all camaraderie. It's not all lollipops and rainbows. It is a business, and it's not patting each other on the back, playing with your hop-scented hacky sack. It's a business. And people... Who the fuck is that?
Right.
Anyway, People need to learn that. People need to understand that. People need to realize that. And it is sad that it was a big company's oversight, because the big company's usually the guys doing this type of thing to people. But Amsterdam came out and was like, you know what? Fuck those big guys. They're not coming to Canada without paying us. And it's a great thing for them. Like he said, it buys them time. But also, in the end, they'll get a lump sum of money from these companies to get that trademark. And once that lump sum of money is given to them, they'll use it to expand even bigger. It's kind of sad, it's kind of funny, and it's kind of disheartening and amusing all at the same time.
Hey, if it buys them more Tempest and less KLB raspberry wheat, then I'm all for it.
But I mean, like Jordan wrote, it is a cautionary tale. Make sure that you're doing this stuff, and it's a tale where you're sitting there and going, how did Molson not think of this? How did Miller Coors not think of this? Because it's true. How is a company that big that always knows everything that's going on not think about this? And it's a funny thing to think about. So they actually tried to get Blue Moon into Canada in 2007, but they were stopped in 2007 because Amsterdam owned the rights. Amsterdam, 8 years later, still has not sold them the rights, so they had to change the name. It's basically the story about the whole thing.
I was wondering why Blue Moon never showed up here.
And like I said originally when we were talking about whether or not they could be in the same market under the same name, well, different names and all that, and how they had to be different. Apparently, the only difference between the two beers is the hop varieties used.
Well, I mean, that's kind of genius on the other guy's part.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, it's genius on their part, but at the same time, these are guys that have always fought against the big guys for doing this type of thing, and then they did it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's hysterical to me because they screwed over the big guy, but it's disheartening to me because they're the type of guys that are standing on their soapbox going, the big guy does this to us, he's an evil creation, and then he does it to them.
I'll start getting more worried when they start doing it to their fellow craft brewers.
Well, they did, technically. I mean, they own the rights to Firestone and Fat Tire.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So, that's, it's smart,
So
but it's
I don't know what Duvel's going to do, because Duvel has announced now that they do intend to try and get some Firestone walkers.
Am I the only one?
Are you the only one wearing a helmet? Yes.
I think Beer Zerker might be a bit drunk.
He's the only one calling in from Alberta.
I didn't know.
Is everyone?
Oh.
Am I the only one getting?
Hey, Big E, what's going on?
Oh, fuck yeah.
What's up?
Hey, I drank that in the shower.
Am I the only one getting three? I'm getting like three. I'm getting like 3 audio loops going on. Is that just me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just me? Oh, I hear like. Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Buddy,
It's
do you
crazy,
have
it's crazy,
like
it's crazy.
3 freaking windows open?
Yeah,
up again?
you should have only one window open, Beer Zerker, and that is the one where you join the hangout.
Your life just got 3 times as shitty. Just
Well, since you started talking, that's a distinct possibility.
hey man, that's what I bring to this party.
Is that the Unite Red Beer Zerker? Tool shed?
That's what it looked like.
Sweet.
Well, what about Roddy Piper?
I heard he's dead.
Hell came to Frogtown.
Hey, wait a minute, that wasn't very nice.
You know what the weirdest thing about that whole thing was? I had just watched an interview with him from like 12 hours earlier when he was talking about the Hogan thing. Like 12 hours earlier, they filmed the interview and then he was dead.
Yeah. Well, you know how much cocaine and booze that dude used to do back in the day? Like, it just caught up with him.
Back in the 80s, you were all, doing the booze, the steak.
I mean,
I was never aware that Roddy Piper used any kind of drugs or alcohol.
Oh yeah, he admitted to it. He was an admitted alcoholic. He used a lot of drugs. He was a more hardcore partier than Ric Flair. Let's put it that way. And Ric Flair lives his gimmick 24/7.
Rowdy was the Grant Fuhrer of the wrestling world.
Pretty much, yeah.
Who's the
And
what?
Grant Fuhrer was an Edmonton Oilers goalie who used to snort so much coke that the joke was he had it in his blocker.
yeah, and
You know, between face-offs, he'd be snorting it off his blocker.
And Piper fully admitted to he was one of the few wrestlers from back in the '80s who admits openly to doing steroids and stuff. That stuff, does
Which
a
is
lot of-
funny because he actually wasn't that well built.
Well, there was a period where he was.
Kind of like a small guy.
He
kind of a
was
small
he-
dude.
Yeah, he was a small guy, but there was a period in like the mid to late '80s where he was really built. Like look at the guns he's sporting in They Live.
Like Lance Armstrong took steroids, and he's a tiny little fella. So.
Yeah. So it depends on what you use them for, right? But yeah, that stuff catches up with you, man. It takes a toll. You just die in your sleep of a heart attack because your heart finally gives out.
There's tons of kids in high school who do a cycle here or there. It doesn't, unless you do it for a lifetime, or for years and years, it's, the effects aren't nearly as damaging as abusing cocaine and whatnot.
And this guy was wrestling and living that kind of lifestyle since he was a teenager. Like,
Rowdy Piper. He just died suddenly. He wasn't like ill for a long time or anything.
He had Hodgkin's lymphoma or something like that for a while, and he beat.
That's not what killed him.
But he beat that. But other than that, no, he wasn't ill. He just
the same as Ultimate Warrior.
I think Maxwell Stars.
The Ultimate Warrior was the same thing too. The Ultimate Warrior he was on TV one night, the next night he was dead.
Yeah.
The WWE Hall of Fame, I think the night before.
Yeah.
Oh, so he wasn't on a deathbed for a long time or anything.
No, it was just sudden. It was just, he had plans. He was going to go on a podcast that day that he died and shit like that. And
Yeah, like I said, I had watched his interview about Hulk Hogan 12 hours earlier.
Yeah, and he looked perfect.
Where he was saying, I want to wait. I don't want to lambaste my friend until I know everything that went on. Like, and then the next day he's dead.
Yeah.
Was that kind of a? And this is not related to beer, except that it does involve drugs. So I guess that I don't know. But anyway, was that like a big story all across? Was that a big story all across Canada that Roddy Piper died?
It was on every.
I wouldn't say it's a big story all across Canada as much as.
It was fairly big. Yeah, I saw it on every.
I saw it on like 18 people's Facebook pages, but that's about it.
No, I saw it on every newscast I watched this week, and it was on CNN pretty much around the clock.
Everybody referenced it at least. Not everybody's making a big story out of it. People referencing it because he was, he was an '80s icon. So a lot of people remember him. Anybody with 35 or older remembers him. So even if they're not big wrestling fans, they knew who that guy is. So they know.
And it's not like there's many famous people out of Saskatchewan anyway.
No. So there you go.
Seemed like a bigger story than Whitney Houston's daughter dying. I've never heard of that.
Well, who even knows Whitney Houston had a daughter? I didn't.
Oh, fuck. Can we talk about beer, please? Jesus Christ.
Yes, back to beer. Fuck you guys, back to beer.
I was waiting.
Greg. He fucking just tubes this thing every time he speaks. God damn it.
Gasoline made from beer, now available at the pumps in New Zealand.
Wow.
So a New Zealand brewery has teamed up with a gasoline retailer to make up a new fuel made using natural byproduct waste from beer production. It's called Brutroleum, and it's now available at gas pumps across the country. Brewery DP Export was seeking a way to repurpose the yeast slurry waste that usually gets thrown out during the beer fermenting process. It actually usually gets dumped right down the drain, so this is a great way to use it. They are doing a 10% beer slurry to gasoline mixture. Now, it's not like this is brand new. Molson Coors has actually been doing this since '95. But their ethanol mix is 65% beer slurry to gasoline, and in 2008 they did every vehicle at the Democratic rally. with their beer stuff. So it's a great thing when you think about how much beer is produced. It's not going down into the sewers. It's not the yeast is not sitting there fermenting in the sewers, because that's a big problem that a lot of cities are now having with more and more breweries coming in, is that they're actually getting gases and stuff coming out of the sewers from all the fermentation happening in the sewer system.
Not to mention all the drunk alligators down there.
Yeah, drunk albino alligators at that.
That's right.
Ooh.
So in other words, in about a month, there's going to be a Lagunitas. Oh, hello, kids.
Someone's vibrator's going.
Sorry, guys. That's the dryer. Sorry. Just doing some
Right, the dryer.
It's not so.
They got me. They got me.
Okay, so in about a month, there's going to be a Lagunitas brewthanol coming out.
Maybe.
Hey, it might catch on. You never know. Depends on how this shit works in Australia.
Lagunitas what?
Brewthanol.
Oh.
What was it called? Beerthanol? Brewthanol?
Brutrolium.
Yeah, so there'll be Lagunitas Brutrolium.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Hey, they made beer out of somebody's beer yeast.
Yeah, I mean, if we need, we're not going to have petroleum forever, so.
I hear Pump House is coming out with a similar thing. It's called propane. Propane.
Propane.
Play the game. Propane.
They also make beer with bird shit. You know, and there's endless names for that.
Shithawk blogger.
Exactly.
Now,
all these ethanols come out when the price of oil falls off a fucking cliff.
Berserker's right.
That's right.
so I did have a comment on the Facebook site recently, which brought me up to posting a bunch of laws and guidelines here in Ontario and across Canada, like the labeling laws for Canadians for alcohol, the ingredients list labeling laws for Canada, the ABV labeling, a bunch of other stuff, the Fairness at the Pump Act. This all came because I had a message sent to me by Marty Fowler and he said that he's calling bullshit on ABV levels from craft breweries, because he was at Bellwoods and he drank 3 beers and he was perfectly fine, and then he had 2 cans of Laker and he was buzzed. And I did say that might be something to do with the ingredients in it and what they're doing to your body. But anyway, I posted this to him too, and I'm like, here is the place to contact if you actually think you're being cheated, because if they're cheating you, it's a $50,000 fine. But it also gives you the layout of exactly what's allowed. Now, there is an allowable variance. There's an allowable variance in the U.S. as well. The allowable variance in the U.S. is 0.5%. So whatever they say on the label, they can be over or under 0.5%. In Canada, in Ontario, if it's and this is not just for Ontario brews, this is for anything that's being sold in Ontario that is beer related. If it's under 5.6% alcohol, it's allowed to have a plus or minus of 0.5. So if it was 5.5% alcohol, it could be either 6%, 5%, or the 5.5 it claims to be. If it's over 5.6% alcohol on the label, it can have a plus or minus of 1 full percent. So if it was 5.6, it could be anywhere from 6.6 to 4.6. It's a good thing to know. There is levels of different chemicals you're allowed to have in here. Like for wine, beer, and everything, you're allowed to have 100 parts per million of arsenic in your product, without it being said that it's there and still being allowed to be sold. There is a whole breakdown of everything that's allowed. What's your thoughts on the variance levels? I mean, I think it should be standard. I don't think it should actually change by the percentage. I think it should be standard, whatever it is, but I understand why it's there, and it should be there because you can't always predict exactly what's going to happen.
No, I definitely agree that there should be regulations on the allowance, because like anybody who homebrews knows, consistency is kind of an issue. You can get roughly there, but there's always slight variations. Another thing I want to say about this is recently I found Not Your Father's root beer, and it's a root beer. And I was reading into it, and they have a 5.9%, a 10%, and a 19%, and they were just recently busted down because it was found that they were putting grain alcohol into the mash in order to get that ABV up. So some of those higher beers, higher ABV beers, you know, they might have some sketchy practices going on. Maybe, I don't know.
What was that company that claimed to have the highest alcoholic beer in the world?
Snakebite in the
Snake
UK,
venom.
exact same thing. Exact
Yeah,
same thing. They
there's
had
just-
the highest ABV beer ever, and then it was proven that they were just throwing grain alcohol in.
Yeah, there's no way you can do that and you can't get that high. About as high as you can really hope for, I think, is about what? Maybe the low 20s if you use champagne yeast or something like that in your beer.
Well,
champagne plus ice distillation.
Brewdogs hit the 30s and even up to 41 without adding grain alcohol, but with ice brewing as well, like ice balking their high gravity stuff.
What's the fucking point other than to say you did it and like, wow,
Well, that's
who cares?
right? Like Flying Monkeys with their alpha fornification at 1600 IBU. What was the point? Just to say they did it.
Yeah, I want a good beer. I don't want a beer that, it's the highest alcohol beer in the world. I don't give a fuck. I want a good beer. I want something I can drink.
No, I'm not gonna lie. If I was offered it, I would drink it.
Oh
In a
yeah,
heartbeat.
any beer nerd, any beer geek, any beer nerd, or any beer snob, in all honesty, because all three of them are slightly different. Anyone that is excited about beer will try these things if it's offered to them. Fuck, I would try it.
Hard on.
The thing is, though, I mean, the highest alcohol beer in the world is still less than the lowest whiskey in the world, so who cares?
Now, I necessarily don't have an issue with them putting grain alcohol in it. You can't go off and claim, we brewed this amazingly high ABV beer when you did that. Say, mark it as an actual liquor like it is.
Yeah, you can't call it beer no more.
Yeah.
It could be beer-based, grain alcohol, whatever.
Yeah.
Just call it what it is.
It's a malt liquor.
Malt liqueur, essentially.
Beer drinkers are still going to drink it.
Once they add the grain alcohol, it's really not a beer anymore, right?
No, if anything, it's a malt liquor at that point. At least in Canadian terms.
A malt liquor is just a strong beer. It's not truly.
See, and that's why I said in Canadian standards. Canadian standards, malt liquor is no hops, basically. It's a malt beverage without hops.
Oh, yeah, it's totally different in America. Totally different in America. Yeah.
Doesn't have anything to do with being fortified?
Nope.
No.
So we're right and you're wrong. You guys are all wrong down there, I'm just saying. Just because we have regulations.
America malt liquor was just beer that's stronger than 5%.
Yeah, and up here, that's just a strong beer.
Yeah. And I think their definition in Europe is different as well for malt liquor. So, I mean, it depends where you go. We have Matthew in here. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Matthew, good day.
What's going on, guys?
What are you drinking?
I am drinking alternate side, Third Rare Brewing alternate side, stout brewed with chili peppers and cinnamon. Never had it before, brewery never had it before, never heard of before, so pretty good.
Now, before I go into any more of that stuff that I posted just because of Marty, this one is for you, Matt. Wawa is one step closer to beer sales in Pennsylvania. They are awaiting confirmation on being able to sell 6-packs at one of their locations in Pennsylvania.
I don't understand it, to be perfectly honest with you, because there's so many convenience stores in Pennsylvania that do sell beer. Like I could walk to just any convenience store and get beer. So I don't understand why they haven't done it.
Oh, now they're doing it.
But it's so weird. It's almost like they were someone they're way behind the times. For someone in corporate, probably why the fuck aren't we making money off this shit? But they do make a bang in hoagie, so that's all I know.
Hey, Matthew, I watched your new Glarus video today.
What'd you think?
I thought that beer was pretty good. Somebody sent me that beer a few months ago. They sent me a big box full of different new Glarus beers.
Yeah, I'm lucky. A friend of mine, he has distant family in Wisconsin, and for some reason, I shouldn't say for some reason, the father of that family is got a raging boner for Yingling Lager, and he would come out here and get it all the time. And my buddy's like, "Hey, if you're just gonna drive out here and get it, why don't you just come back with a bunch of Wisconsin stuff?" So kind of lucking out in that aspect.
I was happy with the New Glarus beers, but I did not find that they were particularly unique.
No, but they're good. They're solid. They're well made.
Yeah, I had two. I had the one that just had the Moon Man, and then it had their black IPA, but it was like 6
I
months
gotta pee.
old, so it wasn't fair to judge it, but it was still a really nice beer.
Yeah, I actually really like Spotted Cow. I bought a 6-pack when I was passing through there, and because their flagship, it's a cream ale. I'm like, oh god, I'm like, why am I doing this? But you know what? It was really good, and it went pretty fast in my house. So
I've heard crazy things. A bar just got busted in New York for bootlegging Spotted Cow or something like that at the bar. I've heard great things about it. Cream ales are kind of, especially in this area, the Northeast, cream ales like Parton's making a bunch of cream ales. Even like what was it? Ballast Point just did their Calm Before the Storm. They did a cream ale that was really good. Like, it's not your father's cream ale, I guess you would say, but
yeah. I've had so many shitty cream ales, so I wasn't expecting much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have one down here in Louisiana called Kingfisher Cream Ale. I'm sorry, not Kingfisher, Kingfish. And it's really good. No, I was very happy with all the New Glarus beers. I wouldn't want somebody to take that the wrong way. I was very happy with all of them. I had about 10 of them.
Oh, their fruit beers are their, bee's knees, man. Those are the best.
Those really were impressive. I really have to say that.
And at 4%, readily available everywhere in Wisconsin, man, there are some lucky sons of guns out there.
I was super jealous. My buddy works for a medical supply or a medical company called Stryker. They make all like the instruments for like medical, like hospitals and shit like that. And he had to go to Michigan to perform a seminar. And he's like, I'm at a brewery right now, and he's in there with like a flight from Coon. And I was like, I've never heard of this brewery before. I was like, yeah, there's stuff like that there. They're the worst.
Hey, real quick. I just got a text. My mom, my dad, my grandma, my wife, and my sister, they're all tuning in to watch. So I just want to say thanks, Mom. Thanks, family.
We have 6 viewers. It's all of them.
Vagina. Blowjob. Pornography.
Are you now we're trying to offend them? Oh, this is not good.
No. I'm talking about
You shouldn't have said anything.
And then next week, if he has any extended family, get them in. We could bump our numbers up.
Yes.
Yeah,
anyway, I'm going to be drinking Wellington Brewery's Red Sky at Night. This has been aging now for a while. I loved this. I loved this when me and Nick had it at the brewery. When we reviewed it like 2 days later out of the bottle, it wasn't quite as good. But this is an Imperial Stout aged in wine barrels, 8.2% alcohol. It was bottled on March 19th, so it's been aging for a bit. We'll jump into it, though.
Red or white wine?
Yeah, interesting.
Red wine.
I still have my bottle of this. I haven't drank it yet.
Chad and Lee and Matt and Matthew Starr and Maxwell Starr, excuse me. Sorry about that. And Beer Zerker and everyone else. It's nice seeing you, but I'm going to get off here because I've been up since 3:30 in the morning. I'm tired.
Hey, I've been up since 7 a.m. yesterday. Cheers.
Wow.
Cheers.
You have a good night there, Jay. You have a good night.
See you,
Bye, Jay.
Cheers.
I love your daughter. She's hot.
And she's single. All right. Well, hey.
Luckily, none of us are going to go down to Louisiana. So.
Huh, that's what you think. I'm heading down there right now.
We got a problem. All right. Well, have a good night, everyone.
Good night, Jay.
Night, Jay.
Hey, also, my friend Elliot, he's watching, and he actually posted a question, or he has a question. I don't know if he posted in the comments yet, but I know there's several homebrewers here. He wants to know, he's making an all Citra hop IPA, but he wants to add some heat to it, and he has 1 ghost pepper. So he's making 5 gallons, and he wants to know when he should add the pepper, at the last of the boil, or should he put it in the fermenter?
Put it in the fermenter. What you should do with it, because you only have 1, so you're not really going to get as much residual heat the way I did when I did mine. First off, boil it beforehand just to make sure there's no bacteria on it, as most of you probably know. Don't boil it for long. Just throw it in for like 3 or 4 seconds. Get any bacteria off of it. Then cut it into pieces and throw it in the fermenter and leave it there the entire time it ferments.
Well, I made a hot chocolate stout, and I threw chipotle peppers into it, and I put mine in the fermenter as well. But another way you can go about it is I soaked mine in vodka for a couple minutes. That way I was afraid it would get rid of some of the flavor, some of the heat and the boil. So I dropped it in a little bowl of vodka for a couple minutes. I think that'll kill the bacteria. Then I just...
It would do the same thing, yeah, you are correct. But whatever you do, don't follow what a lot of homebrewers tell you to do. Don't roast the fucking pepper. You lose a lot of the flavor. You lose a lot of the heat.
That's personal preference on your end. I know you like the unroasted peppers, Chad.
I make hot sauces. I make hot beer. I've cooked. Don't roast the pepper if you want the flavor. That's what I'm saying. If he wants that smoky ghost pepper flavor to show up, especially with just one pepper, don't roast it. And you're right, it is personal thing, but if he wants full-on flavor, roasting it's going to take some of the flavor away. I know a lot of people that love the roasted pepper flavor, but it is taking away from the natural flavor of the ghost pepper.
Or you could just make 2 batches and experiment. Roast one pepper and leave one pepper raw. See which one you like the best.
Well, that is a great way to do it, too.
Fermentation, yeah.
Yeah, I guess for that, I don't know. I think he uses kegs, so he might be able to do a split batch.
Yeah, just do a half batch. Why not use one raw pepper and one roast pepper just for experiment?
Now I will say, like, when it comes to IPAs, I think peppers either make or break it. I had Sculpin Habanero. Wasn't a huge fan, but not too long ago I had a ghost pepper and jalapeno IPA, and I thought it was fantastic. So I don't know. It's throwing peppers into an IPA. It can throw it off or it can make it great.
It seems like every iteration of fucking Sculpin, fucking Habanero Sculpin is them just challenging people with more fucking pepper. It's getting to the point where it's just like, how many assholes can we blow out with this beer? It gets hotter and hotter every time they fucking put it down.
Yeah, well, it does say at the bottom of the bottle, heat may vary.
Yeah. Although I'm excited to hear that people are, putting peppers to good use in beer instead of just like dumping it in their shitty lager or shitty blonde ale or whatever and just dumbing it down to the nth degree or
Well, that's like this one, man. This fucking it's in a milk stout. I honestly, that's my favorite when a chili pepper is in a milk stout, because you get that heat it builds, but it doesn't get that's the point of being uncomfortable. And it just that lactose kind of ties it in and dials it back a little bit.
I don't know. I mean, my personal preference is if you're gonna throw peppers into a beer, it should be a stout. I think that's where it is best shown. Like Bomb is fantastic, and Stone Chocovesa, that was phenomenal. So I'm just
it's your favorite beer.
What's that?
Your favorite beer, Stone Chocovesa?
It's absolutely it's unbelievably good. But yeah, I just believe that stouts benefit so much from a pepper.
So do lobsters, apparently. Dogfish Head's thrown some lobsters in a fucking stout. What the fuck?
Well, I mean, that's not the weirdest thing.
No, that's true. That's true. It's not the weirdest. Anyways, guys, I have to go. I have to go play FIFA with my boy. I owe him a match, so he keeps calling me.
Oh, wait. You didn't add me on Xbox One yet.
I don't even know how. I'm serious.
Didn't have Xbox One either. What the hell?
I'm a total plebe on that thing, guys.
Right, you didn't add me on Xbox One. I need some competition for my gaming videos.
See, just so you know, when I do get an Xbox One, I'm not adding any of you people.
Oh, I wouldn't want you to.
Lee, I'll add you because I like you.
No, you won't be able to add me because I'll block you.
No.
Bye.
Probably wouldn't add me.
Bye. You know what? I just beat Rise, Son of Rome. I did it in like 3 days, doing like 2 hours a day. It was like a 5-hour game. And I sat there afterwards, and I'm like, kids don't know how hard games were in the past, or how long games were. You'd have an 8-bit game that took you like 80 hours to beat, and you have this like full-on high-definition Blu-ray, and it takes 4 hours.
Yeah, because before
wasn't that
you had like 3 lives to beat the entire game and no saves.
Yeah.
Isn't Rise like almost like a quick time event game?
Looks like it.
Or you could have a game like this.
Rise is kind of like a shorter version of Dynasty Warriors. There is a lot of cinematics in it, but it's the same amount of cinematics as a lot of those games.
It just looks so linear. I can't
level.
deal with it anymore. I can't deal with linear games. I'm just too indoctrinated now by open world shit, where it's like, if you're putting me on a set path that I have to follow, unless it's like an 8-bit cartridge game, I don't want to play it anymore. Sorry.
Well, I don't know. I still think there's some pretty good set path games. Like, I still think Arkham Asylum is better than the other 2 games that came out after it. But
yeah, I love Uncharted. I love those fucking games.
yeah, that's another good example of a really solid game that's not open world. It's just, there's different kinds of games out there. It's something for everyone nowadays.
Oh, when you're talking about games being harder back in the day, I showed this one again, the original Final Fantasy. That game is so freaking difficult because it kind of just drops you off. And you're like, hey, start the game. You know nothing about what's going on in the world and how to play. No tutorials, just go.
There's no story. You're just a warrior of light for some reason.
Ninja Gaiden and Master Blaster, the 2 fucking games. And
Battletoads.
No, Battletoads is
well, that's because it's ridiculous. I'm talking about games people enjoy playing.
I know.
Ninja Turtles.
We ventured off of the beer topic again, which we always do, which is fine. But I don't know how many of you guys watch the Angry Video Game Nerd, but he did do a video in the last few weeks. It was his buddy Bootsy, one of his characters, Bootsy, beating Battletoads, and I've never seen it done, and that guy does it so fucking easily. That guy's a fucking like idiot savant when it comes to video games.
The only time he fucked up is when he started talking to Mike and
when Mike and James were talking, he's like nicely saying "shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
He's playing it,
and
Battletoads is one of those games where you were in the schoolyard back in the 90s, or at least I was, and all your buddies would tell you they beat that game, and most of them were full of shit. In fact, probably all of them were full of shit.
Because I never got past that part where you're on the first level where you're on the speeder or whatever, and then it gets past that, and then he says, there's a harder one coming up on the same idea. I was like, holy shit, there's a fucking harder one?
Well, then you have all these guys that, like, there's these games that I couldn't fucking barely beat as a kid, and I broke 17 controllers and punched a hole in the wall. And then you have, like a 4-year-old girl from India who plays it blindfolded and backwards and beats it in like 15 minutes. You're like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fucking Battletoads, fucking Kid Icarus was fairly difficult. Not as bad.
Rygar, remember Rygar?
Yeah, Rygar was bad.
You guys ever play the topographical first Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
Yes.
That one was just more frustrating than it was hard. It was just like, man.
You know what? And like a lot of these games, people don't realize how much time sync you had to do into just being able to get to them. Like Rygar, you had to time sync to make your fucking shield fly farther on the fucking side-scrolling levels. When I was just doing Bionic Commando, when I was testing things out, I had to farm all my health. On the first level, I just sat there and I farmed 300 enemies.
I know exactly the spot where you creep by the barrel and you shoot your arm and you put it on auto. Yeah. Is that where you farmed it?
Yeah.
In the underground part? Yeah, I know exactly. I remember that part as a kid, man. I would farm.
But it was also when you were a kid, right? Like, you had more time, and B, generally your parents bought your video games for you, so you only had a limited amount of games you'd get, so you had to make the most out of them.
You want to talk about another hard game? Revenge of Shinobi. That game is brutally hard.
Actually, you know what probably is the hardest game ever? No one ever thinks about it this way. Contra.
Yeah.
Contra is pretty hard.
If you play without the code, it's impossible to beat. Everybody plays with the code, so they know.
That's the AVGN Next Challenge. They said you want to beat it without the code.
Contra wasn't that bad. I've beaten both Contra and Super C and the one on Super NES without code.
Did you use the NES Advantage?
Yeah, I didn't use the.
Did you tell your friends that in the schoolyard?
I did tell my friends that in the schoolyard, and they still believe me.
I think Contra is one of the funnest games if you use the NES Advantage, though. That was the turbo controller. You could set it to rapid fire, so you're just.
Well, like when I first got my Nintendo, I think I got Mario Brothers, Mario 3, and Super C, which was the second Contra game, and those were the only games I had to play for a little while. So I got pretty good at the second Contra.
You know what I have coming in the mail, and I should get it probably tomorrow. I thought I'd get it today because it passed customs in Toronto yesterday, and that's Rock and Roll Racing.
Oh yeah.
So, I bit the bullet. I paid like $30 American for it because it was the cheapest I could find it at without trying to find it at a flea market and fleecing
Is that
somebody.
one of Blizzard's old games, or am I off on that?
Is that what? Sorry.
Like Blizzard Entertainment, wasn't that one of their early games, or am
Yeah.
I?
Yeah, it was one of their early games.
Oh, okay.
And there was a code to get Olaf the Barbarian from the Lost Vikings.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the next game I'm probably going to have to bite the bullet for because I can't find it cheap anywhere. Also, I want to get Turtles in Time, and it pisses me off that these cartridge games are so expensive because there's thousands of cartridges around, and they last forever. It's not like CD games that die, and there's not as many around. But I want to get Turtles in Time. The only place I can find it right now for sale is at $75 American, and I'm not paying that.
Well, hey, one last thing for me. I'm selling 95% of my entire game collection, and that's consoles, hundreds of games. It's dating all the way back from the Magnavox Odyssey all the way up to like the PS4. So I've got like 75 consoles I'm trying to get off my hands, and I'm selling them cheap. So I'm just keep that out there.
It's amazing those old cartridge games. The batteries on some of those old games, like because it used to be battery-based saves, right? For like.
Yeah, I actually have. I have 2 copies of Dragon Warrior, and both of them the batteries work.
They still work. Like amazing that they still fucking work, man. It just goes.
They're using Tesla technology.
Yeah.
Last I checked, which was at this point about 2 years ago, all my NES games, that I remember, I think Final Fantasy, Zelda, all that stuff, the batteries still seem to work. But
yeah.
I haven't been played in about 20 years, but they're sitting in a Rubbermaid container in my basement until one day they deteriorate.
I actually had a copy of Final Fantasy sent to me by Will. I haven't actually put it in yet to see if the battery works on it or not.
I know my Pokemon Red, its internal battery finally died. That was depressing.
Pokemon Red, that's not even that old of a game.
I know, but the battery type that they used only had an estimated lifespan of 10 to 15 years, and we're going on, 20, 25?
Yeah, it just goes to show you how the technology changes, but it also cheapens quite a bit as it becomes more available. So you see newer games not necessarily last as long because they were not made as well with as good as technology.
You know what? My original Nintendo, which I think my parents bought me around 91, something like that, still works perfectly. You do occasionally have to blow on the cartridges and stuff, but it still works perfectly. There is no freaking way my PlayStation 4 is going to be working in 20 to 30 years from now.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. There's too many moving parts.
Well, yeah, it's based on a hard drive system now, so it's like moving parts. So eventually, it's gonna spin itself into oblivion.
One day
I had to replace the motherboard in my Super Nintendo about 7 years after I got it, but other than that, it's a pretty solid machine.
And that's the thing, right? These old machines are made to last, and these games are made to last. That's why when I see a game that was super popular on that system for a lot of money, I get agitated because I know there's thousands of those cartridges out there. Where I'll see a PS3 game for $2 on DVD that won't last,
Yeah, but the people who have them either hang on to them or they know.
Well, what happened was anybody that got into video game collecting in the last 3 years got fucked because what happened is people realized that hipsters like to collect video games, and hipsters theoretically had a lot of expendable income, so the prices just jumped as soon as they realized they could sell it to these people. But on the other hand,
though, a lot of stuff collectors for a lot of money now is worth less. Stuff like Final Fantasy Tactics and Castlevania Symphony of the Night actually sells for less now because it was hard to get, but now they re-released it in digital form. So you don't necessarily have to track down a PlayStation 1 CD to play it. You can just download it for 10 or 15 bucks. So some things have actually gone down in price, but it just depends what they've re-released and what they haven't.
Well, I mean, that was the thing. When I got that Final Fantasy cartridge, I was ecstatic, but I had just bought, months ago, the Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 2 compilation for PS1 for, $14.
Good price.
Yeah.
I
It
think
was a
some
good
of, those,
price.
some of those old PlayStation 1 things, like even like an original copy of Final Fantasy VII, sells for quite a bit of money.
I picked up a copy of Bushido Blade for $2.50.
I assume that's $2.50, not.
Yes. No, I would not pay. I don't want to pay $75 for a game I really loved. I'm not paying $250 for a game I didn't
I
love.
love Bushido Blade. That game was so much fun. It's like how you just one-hit kill everyone.
Yep.
That was back when Squaresoft, sort of the Super NES and the PlayStation 1 was when Squaresoft was in its peak days, and then it's been all downhill since then.
So I did have some more topics, but I don't think we're probably going to get to them because we've spun off completely, and we only have 5 viewers. If any of you have anything to say, throw it out. If not, to the viewers, that is. Don't. We do have somebody watching messages. I was just going to quickly talk about this. I've talked about it before. It's a Canadian-wide law. It's called the Fairness at the Pump Law. Now, the reason I'm going to bring it up again is because apparently most people didn't realize that it does affect beer as well. What most people know it for is electricity, gas, gas for your car, firewood, retail food scales, but it also, again, does pints of beer. And the pints of beer, it's in order to process your complaint, please provide your name and contact information, the name and address of the establishment, info on how you have attempted to resolve the matter, photo of the menu or advertisement showing the quantity claimed to have been dispensed if possible, and a sales receipt. Now, what this thing is a pint contains 20 fluid ounces that are 560 milliliters in Canada. The limit of error for 20 fluid ounces is 0.5 fluid ounces. The foam is not counted in the measurement, which is the head. So basically, if you are poured a pint of beer and it is not at least 19.5 fluid ounces of fluid, they can be sued for up to 50 Gs. Well, they can be fined up to 50 Gs, mattering if they're a repeat offender. And if the glass is anything other than a pint, it still has a variance allowance. But the reason this is an important thing for you guys to remember is there are a lot of bars that will cheat you. There's a lot of companies that will cheat you. I have a Spearhead glass over there that's supposed to be a pint glass. It does not even hold a 473 milliliter can without head. So if you're getting that pint glass at a bar, that bar is allowed to get this fine. It's just the way it is. And it's something to keep in mind if you're a Canadian citizen, because most people, again, don't realize that this has to do with beer as well. So if you go out to bars a lot, keep this in mind.
Yeah. Can't disagree with that.
Any comments there, Lisa? Anything at all?
We do have one from Mr. Dale Moore. Says, "Good evening, gents. I'm here watching. I am tired. Worked on the patio the last 2 days, and the brewery I work at part-time as a brewer has its grand opening this Friday, so prepping for that. 5 beers, they'll be on tap. Our 3 mainstays, our summer seasonal, and our surprise grand opening beer. Cheers." Awesome.
And where is our bottles of each of these, Dale?
Exactly, Dale.
We're
don't even say, "Oh, we only do it on tap," because you know how to bottle. You're a home brewer. You fucking bottle it under pressure. You mail it to us all. We're all good.
Yeah, and let's see, Richard Baster Ake says Albino Rhino rocks, and Kramer Cantify says, "Cheers, guys."
Well, cheers to you. I don't really rock. Second off, and glad you guys are here. Yeah, I'm sorry that we kind of splintered off. It was a slow news week, really, and I don't want to go into a lot of the full-on Ontario-centric stuff because then I have fucking Average Joe complaining and whining on Facebook and everywhere else.
Mm-hmm. What a fucking bitch, that fucking slut ass.
Did you guys talk about Goose Island yet?
Which part about Goose Island?
That they're moving the Bourbon County line to fucking like big bottles to try to rate people over more money, no more 12 ounces.
No, I didn't even read that yet. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, they moved the whole Bourbon County line, not to bombers, to like those Schneider Aventinus, Schneider Weiss, like Hefe style, like 16 ounce, 16.2, 16.8 ounce bottles.
500 milliliter or?
Not even 500 milliliter, like somewhere in between. Like I forget what the
really?
exact. Yeah, so they're doing that instead of 4-packs of 12 ounces. So they'll create exclusivity more, and they'll sell it for more. People think they're getting more.
They'll have more bottles and they can sell it for more.
Yeah,
That's their entire game plan. Then that's actually saddening, because the best part about it was the value of it. What you were getting was amazing when you thought about it.
Yeah, really. So yeah, that sucks.
It's a smart business plan. It's a business plan that I would have figured Anheuser-Busch would have went to earlier. But yeah, you're right. It sucks for the consumer.
Yeah, because they just become bigger whales all of a sudden that people can hoard and sell on eBay and fucking, you know, or well, I guess they can't sell them on eBay, but you know what I mean. Hold them off and trade to people for, you know.
What's that website that Ewart and Aaron showed us a while back? The
the one that gets you banned from Beer Advocate.
Yeah,
my beer seller.
Yeah, that would be it. I think.
I'm a huge advocate of my beer seller.
Collectible beers.
I actually made a purchase off my beer seller. Let's see, last week, and it was a great deal. Like if you look.
Well, you know what? If you want to use that site, more power to you. I'm just talking about the topic that Lee was
Yeah.
Hoarding them and selling them, and this, that would be probably where you're going to see a lot of them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us have sort of made, I know I have at least, made the comment that the 12-ounce bottles that they were selling that stuff in was the perfect size for those beers, really, because they were so big. And
a 4-pack was what, like $16, $16.20 in that range in New York usually.
Because you really don't want a bomber of that shit, and you really don't want anything bigger than the 12 ounce of that stuff.
No,
because,
4-packs of it were $25.
Yeah, so you would get them for $6 each. You would drink one right away. You usually would give one to your friend, and you'd sit on a couple. And that was great. That was great for the price you were paying for what you were getting. And yeah, when you figure they go in the bigger bottle, they'll probably be like what, $15 for a $5.50 or whatever they decide to do. You end up paying more for less. Yeah, and they can make a lot more. Especially if they're buying like Chinese glass or anything like that. If they're not doing German or Italian glass, they're making a killing.
Yep.
Because I really, I want to savor a Bourbon County, but at the same time, I don't want anything more than really a 12 ounce. Like I want something.
However, here's the one thing we both have to think about: if they're moving up to bigger bottles, meaning less volume put into the bottles. Well, less volume in total put into the bottles. Goose Island just broke into Canada.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Well, that's the cool thing. But now it means I have to share my Bourbon County with other people, and I'm not sure if I'm cool with that.
Well, are y'all getting the Bourbon County? Because I know a lot of places that have Goose Island, they don't get the Bourbon County releases.
No, we don't get it yet, but I mean, I'm sure it will eventually happen. We get right now is Goose Island IPA.
And Honkers. Honkers just came to Ontario.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Neither of them are the U.S. brewed Honkers or IPA.
Oh, fuck. If we get a Canadian brewed Bourbon County, I'm gonna fucking start shooting people.
That would actually be hysterical, to be honest.
I am going to go in the street and literally start shooting people.
Oh, it's pretty funny. I think Colorado Springs, they got one of. If it wasn't their first year, it was one of their first few years. They got it last year. And I went to the midnight launch and all that crap because I had time off. And I stood in line. I got one bottle. That was pretty nice. And I was like, I enjoy this. Several days later, I wander into this like obscure little store. And they had a whole shelf of it. And it wasn't the $12 a bottle that they're selling it at the big name places. It was $2 a bottle. So I stashed up a 6-pack real quick. But it's just funny how different beer stores see it and view it and how it gets there.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're seeing it for $2 a bottle, you have to wonder what Anheuser-Busch is selling it to the stores for.
Yeah.
Oh, cheers, oh, the fuck. Fuck.
What? What's going on?
We just got a cheers from, you already said it, the Kramer can, whatever. Fuck.
What, are you?
I know him. I know him. That's the thing. I used to hang out on his Justin TV and some of his Vaughn things and all that. I'm trying, and my mind, now that I'm drinking and because of all my concussions, I just can't remember his name, and that makes me feel like an ass because I've actually talked to him so many times. I've tried to get him to come down to the beer festival and everything else. Fuck.
Well, it's more his fault, really.
I've sent him a beer. I've sent him a beer mail. Fucking. Oh.
Did he send anything back?
Yeah. He actually sent me some cool stuff. He sent me that Quebec jalapeno beer where the jalapeno jumped out of the bottle. Wow, I feel like a complete dick now.
Call him out, Kramer. Call him a dick.
Yeah, call me a dick because that's exactly how I feel at this very moment.
We also have a cheers from Iraq Builder. Says cheers, clink with a Pliny. He says, so I assume that means he's drinking with a Pliny and he's like clicking glasses towards our glasses.
That's my friend. That's my friend Elliot.
Well, cheers to you then, Elliot. And yeah, I don't have something as good as Pliny, at least from what I hear. But
that dude just sent me a Pliny the other day. It was awesome. Well, he sent me one before, but this one I'm saving. I'm actually having. I got a case of Hetty. I have a Pliny, and I just got a case of On the Wings of Armageddon. And we're about to have a side-by-side comparison, so pretty excited about that.
Nice.
You know what? I would actually love to do a Pliny versus Hetty head-to-head and even have Zombie Dust there. But I loved Hetty when I had it.
Yeah, I just drove up to Vermont not too long ago, and I was sitting there, and luckily I was first in line, so they just gave me a whole freaking case. Man. Yep, we're about to have Pliny versus Hetty versus On the Wings of Armageddon versus Snake Handler. That's the fourth one. So it's going to be a whale extravaganza this weekend.
I think his name starts with an M. I'm still on the name. I'm listening to you guys, but I'm stuck. You know when there's something where like you know somebody or you. Oh fuck. Marco,
there we go. And Iraq Builder says invite. I know snobs, so I don't know. Oh, can you give me the link in the comments section, Chad? The join link, and I'll put it in the comments so you can jump in.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I gotta find it. Sorry to anybody that's to any people that are still watching, which I don't think there is any.
But Iraq Builder, you're still watching. Just keep refreshing the comment section for a couple minutes, and eventually you'll see. I'll post the link, the actual join link, so you can actually jump into the panel.
Fuck! I can't believe I couldn't remember Marco.
Polo.
Not Polo, you fucking stupid bitch.
All right, I just posted it there, Iraq Builder.
So I have exactly 7 beers left to review, and it's a good thing that I started doing the stuff I was doing, like the gaming videos and all that, because you just run out of things to do. You really run out of things to do.
I got luckily, if I can get off my ass next week.
Well, I was going to say, luckily I have over 100 videos backlogged. I think I have 110 left on the computer, then I have 20 between my tablet and my cell phone, and I have 15 on the cameras. So it's not like I don't have product, but even when you have a huge backlog of videos, you start worrying when you can't find new beers to try.
Yeah. I've never had that worry.
Yeah, I was watching your video, your State of the Union, and I was like, maybe this might be the end of the Rhino.
It will never be the full end of the Rhino. It's just whether or not I always can do things. I can always do beer alchemies and all that. It's not like there's anything stopping me from doing stuff. It's just, yeah, I'm getting to the point where Ontario is strapped out for me.
If
And-
anything, Rhino's get to the point where he's copying everything I've done over the last fucking 7 years. I mean,
Yeah. We even did the washroom reviews. Remember that?
yeah, you did that. You're doing the first person shit. You're doing the gaming stuff now. You're just copying every goddamn thing.
Okay,
Albino Rhino whiskey review right now. It's going to be coming on.
I've been doing liquor reviews for a while.
Yeah, you're gonna go more full hardcore on it. I can see it
No,
happening.
I can't afford alcohol. I have what's on my bar top, and that's basically what I can afford.
Man, I don't know.
You're gaming too.
We already went over that I'm gaming too.
Yeah.
Actually, it's only because of Lee that I started doing. I wanted to do them, but I didn't know how to do them. And then Lee's like, "Hey, there's this piece of hardware," and the first 4 parts of the Rise Son of Rome thing, I didn't have my audio working very well. I think I have it working now, so we'll see if 5 to 12 work great. But yeah, I thought it was a fun little game. It was a button masher. I'll still play it at multiplayer, and I'll play the survival modes and all that. But people are like, I've already been asked by somebody, "Are you going to replay it at a hard difficulty?" No, I beat it once. I don't care to do it again.
The story didn't compel you enough to play it again?
It was a cool little game, and there was a part that I was worried I was going to get kicked off of YouTube for, and then I saw that the nipples were covered, so she wasn't fully naked. So I was okay. Okay.
You're allowed to have, like, there's lots of Let's Plays that have titties on them. It's okay.
Just
as
say
long
it's educational.
Yeah, do you realize how many people report me, Greg, for things? I
Yeah.
actually had like 5 Labatt videos and a Guinness video pulled off the web. Like, I get reported quite a lot for things, and it's funny because it's all false reports. But
Yeah, well, when you're opinionated and you actually want to speak your mind about shit, you make enemies on YouTube. That's just the way it is.
Probably just
You know you can combat any type of ban or
You can, but
copyright or anything.
But YouTube isn't very forthcoming with siding with anyone on that shit. They take their time.
Well, I have another YouTube channel where I used to do gaming and stuff like that, and I've had a lot of copyrights and people would say, hey, this is inappropriate or whatever, and it would get temporarily banned. So what I would do is I would build my appeal, a couple paragraphs long. It takes a little effort, but if you just want to stick it to them, say, hey, fuck off, then you can just post that, send it to them, and 9 times out of 10, it usually works.
well, it's not like I'm getting hit with copyright. My video just disappears. It's just gone.
Even out of like the video manager?
Yeah, it's gone.
That's weird as shit.
Yeah, it's like false flagging attacks and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I did a video that was Guinness draft from Ireland versus a Labatt's brewed Guinness Extra Stout and Moosehead brewed Guinness Extra Stout. It was all 3 of them, and that was taken off for misleading statements.
So that's the thing. YouTube bows down to anyone who threatens them. So I mean,
There are certain things where it's a YouTube user, and then there's certain things where it's an actual company coming after you.
Yeah.
And that's when I get hit. I've actually had Labatt fight me a few times, but Labatt doesn't like me. I'm known by Labatt. I've actually been talked about by Labatt salespeople and reps at interviews and stuff like that. I actually have a friend who works as a Labatt sales rep for the Toronto area, and he sends me what it was said about me all the time. He's like, "Hey, just so you know, here you go." That's awesome. I love that I'm a nobody on YouTube, and they love me so much that they have to talk about me.
Yeah, I mean, most of my stuff is pretty, like, YouTube's, I mean, as much as they kind of suck in a lot of ways, they're fairly good with the way they set stuff up. I mean, if you're not interested in actually monetizing your shit anyways, it doesn't really matter. So, I mean, you can get away with a lot of copyrighted material as long as you're not trying to monetize it, because there's a lot of stuff now that they'll put ads that benefit the actual people that, you know, created the content that you're adding to your videos. So I mean, like for my podcast, I always have like a fucking end song or whatever, and almost 99% of the time, every time I upload, within 3 seconds, it's like content strike match, you know, but just acknowledge it, and they, you know, they put an ad on for whatever fucking record company owns that shit. So
Yeah,
There's several ways around that. If you post this video with a song that you really want to use, one way to do it is, I don't know what type of video software y'all use or anything like that, but like in Sony Vegas, all you do is just change 1 decibel, take it down like a notch, and it's considered technically a completely different song just because it sounds slightly different.
well, yeah, then it doesn't hit their the little bots that YouTube has that looks for the shit in the actual files or whatever. It doesn't match up with the official file, the official data of that file or whatever for that song. It doesn't hit their fucking little bots that search around and look for that shit. Because you notice, like, a lot of people who put full movies on YouTube, they'll change the sound of the movie, like they'll make the audio weird, like especially like South Park episodes. A lot of channels, they'll make these South Park episodes, their audio is just slightly off, like a bit, maybe a bit slower, a bit deeper, or something like that, and it will not get hit by the bots and get stricken down or whatever. And a lot of movies, you'll see a lot of like movies uploaded to YouTube where they have like a weird fucking like light spot right in the middle of the fucking film that basically it's just like it makes the data slightly different for the movie so it doesn't get hit.
Yeah, or you can speed it up or slow it down like by 0.5, and that works too.
It doesn't actually change the fact that it's still a copyright infringement. It just changes the fact that YouTube doesn't catch it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But doesn't really matter, no. All my gaming videos that have been Xbox One ones, they've all been hit with third-party matches. But again, third-party matches don't matter unless I'm trying to monetize it.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to monetize any of my gaming shit or any of my podcast stuff. So
no, I mean there are gaming video people that do it, but they're the most respected ones out there that are watched all the time. So
well, the consoles have stuff attached so you can share directly anyway. They know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, unless you're Nintendo, who are super fucking pricks about it.
That's what I was about to say. Most of them usually don't care except Nintendo. But I mean, my wife, she has a YouTube channel where she does all video game stuff, and she's made a decent amount of money off of monetizing her videos. And she's not even like super huge or anything.
She has to be huge. She's a woman playing video games. That's her
thing is that she refuses to show her face or anything like that. It's just her voice. So
well, that's even better for the video game nerds, man. They can imagine whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like, come on, who a fucking real ale guy? When he got his wife to start doing beer reviews, he's like doing them in the bedroom.
Yeah, that exploded his fucking channel in more ways than one, I guess. You know, you could say.
Like he might have been the guy that knew more about beer, but she was the more popular one because she had breasts.
If anything, he got 50 more views on all of his videos from just Guy alone.
The motorboat. Da da da.
Hey, that's the #1 rule of YouTube. Put boobs in the thumbnail.
Well, the best part was when Karina, the commander, stopped doing videos with us. Is when people said I had a better rack than her. She got so angry she stopped doing videos.
Yeah.
Like, what can I say? I used to be a strongman and now I'm fat. I got a nice rack.
Hey, work it.
If it works, it works.
Exactly.
I didn't tell her that it was the gay guys that were saying it because I have a few friends of mine that are flamingly gay, and they're the ones that, ooh, your rack is so much better than hers. Didn't tell her that because it made me feel good. And then I had a viewer in the last pool review that's like, what's that disgusting thing? Put a shirt on. I'm like, yeah, banana hammock video coming up next.
Yes, I'm excited for that one.
Well, I mean, this is the thing about YouTube, right? There's trolls, and then there's trolls, and then there's trolls. There's always haters, but it's how you deal with them, right? For me, if they're really good, I'll post them on the Facebook site as the troll of the week. And other than that, I like to piss them off. Like, there's that one person that was angry for weeks about the shower reviews. I have so many shower reviews recorded right now that it's not even funny. Like, the more you let me know that I'm actually bothering you, the less it bothers me, and the more I have fun with it.
Yeah, well, at the end, it all comes down to post what you want to on your channel, you know?
And watch what you want to. If you don't like it, just don't watch it.
Yeah, I mean, we've had this conversation before on this exact segment that we're not really doing this to get famous. We're not really doing this to make tons of money. We're all doing it for, just the love.
That's just it, right? You love what you're doing. It's a hobby. You're having fun with it. Do it. That's it. Don't care what people say. And it's funny just how angry people get when you don't like the same beer as them. It's fucking beer. That's what it is. It's beer. You don't like a beer.
It's like any other hobby, though. Cars, video games, movies, anything like that. People get butthurt if you don't.
And it's always the same thing, though, Greg, at the same time. Like, how can you... You love Lamborghini, I love Porsche. Who the fuck cares? You know, you like Sony, you like Xbox. Who the fuck cares? You know, like, who the fuck really cares?
Because some people that are so into it, like, it's like, oh, I place my entire life in liking this kind of brand of cars, and if you like a different brand of cars, it somehow, it somehow offends me. It threatens my very existence that you like something different than I do, so I have to challenge you on that.
Like, I know we only have 3 Canadians and 2 Americans in the room right now, but to the other 2 Canadians, what's your favorite fast food? Go.
Are they talking like fast food or?
Yeah, like burger joints. Favorite fast food burger joint.
Stuff like Five Guys.
See, I don't have a Five Guys.
I don't think that's technically fast food. I mean,
well, it's kind of in between. It's sort of.
The ones here in America, they don't have drive-throughs. That's what I consider fast food.
No, they don't have drive-throughs here either.
Yeah, okay, so they have to have a drive-through. For me, A&W is my favorite.
I would probably say Wendy's off the top of my head.
Nick?
Does it have to be a burger, or can it be chicken?
No, it has to be a burger. Well, it can be a chicken thing, but a burger place.
Burger place. Okay, well, it's Wendy's probably.
Okay,
Yeah,
so Wendy's and A&W. Now,
fast food
to
too,
the
though.
Americans, well, KFC does burgers.
Well, hey, okay, so I visited Canada a few times. There was this one place, man. They had like they focused on like donuts, and they had a drive-through donut. It was fucking maybe I don't know. I got like a box of donut holes, and that thing blew my mind. It was so good.
Timbits, yeah.
Now my favorite fast food place that I've eat at most frequently, and it's not because I love the way it tastes, just because sometimes I need something greasy and cheap. I have to go to McDonald's with their double cheeseburgers. It's like $1 for a double cheeseburger. That's easy to get 5 of them.
You know what? I got a McDonald's within walking distance of me, and although it's not my favorite fast food place normally, it can hit the spot sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm a Wendy's guy.
There's literally a McDonald's right across the street from work. I'm there almost every day. But one thing I really like is when you can swap out their fries for a side salad and actually eat healthy for not too bad a price.
Yeah, but
Okay, guys, you keep chatting. I gotta take a quick shit.
A poop.
I gotta take a poop.
So it's all that fast food.
I actually mean poop. I don't want to go fuck my wife right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say your poop breaks off.
Sure you don't want to fuck your wife. It's all that fast food. You gotta poop. It gives you a wild bowel.
Because I mean, nowadays there's a lot of places like, and I think a lot of them are American that are sort of coming to Canada, like Five Guys and Burger Priest and stuff like that. And those I think are actually better than the typical fast food.
Oh yeah, Five Guys is unstoppable. Those burgers are amazing.
But
Is there actually a Five Guys in Ontario now?
Oh, there's tons of Five Guys in Ontario. They started sort of around the GTA, and now they've sort of moved their way in. And they're a little bit more expensive than in the U.S., of course, but Yeah, no, and that's probably my favorite overall like burger place in Canada. Like other than like going to some sort of gourmet restaurant or something. I mean, I love Fuddruckers, but we don't have those in Canada.
See, if he was going to say
Fuddruckers.
chicken, I was going to say Mary Brown's. That's been my favorite place.
Fuddruckers is dying in the United States too. They're shrinking.
It's so depressing too.
Oh, every time I go to the States, I always have to have Fuddruckers. I love their burgers, but
See, I finally moved to a place where they actually have one, so I'm losing my shit that I haven't gone there and eaten it yet.
Oh no, you gotta fix that.
I know. Well, technically, it's in a different state, quote unquote. It's DC. They count themselves completely different than Virginia, so. But it's a 2-hour drive, and I'm willing to make that just to go get some fucking Fuddruckers.
Oh yeah, man! White Castle, fuck the world. White Castle's the best shit in the history of mankind.
Never had it before. I've never lived where they have it.
Dude, White Castle is literally crushes everybody. I don't even know why I'm fucking not even talking about it. You know why? Because I have to drive an hour to go to it. You can eat 70 burgers in the city. I mean, who the fuck doesn't want to do that?
Have you ever had Crystals?
They're very similar. You know what I mean? Like, they're different but similar. Yeah.
I've always heard that. You're either a Crystal guy or a fucking Newcastle guy, and I've never had Newcastle, so I'm trying to see how they compare up.
Like I said, I only had White Castle once. I didn't like it, and then I was told by my brother-in-law, who is an American, he says, White Castle only works when you're drunk. It's not something you eat when you're sober.
No, he's wrong. You're wrong, and everybody's fucking wrong.
Well, I haven't piped in yet, and I'm just going to say anything that Harold and Kumar endorses, I support.
So you support Christmas and escaping from Guantanamo?
Yes, I do. I support Asian women showing their titties, and I support pot smoking, and I support White Castle, and I support Neil Patrick Harris fucking a bunch of bitches.
And coming back to life?
Yes.
Spoilers. And the cock meat sandwich?
Yeah.
Oh man,
all
my
that
dog
stuff.
just farted.
Bottomless parties, I support that. That's awesome. I support all that shit. And
yeah, all those chicks in that sequence were wearing merkins. That's deceptive.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? It's America. You can't show real vagina unless you're an art film.
Labia will destroy our children.
That's right. It'll corrupt you, poor Puritan motherfuckers.
Now, that was a little bit of a culture shock when I visited Canada, because I was walking around, the radio had cuss words on it, and I was like, whoa, that's unusual. And then I'm sitting there flipping through the channels, I'm like, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, softcore porn.
Yep, vaginas everywhere, cats marrying dogs, everything's weird up here.
The closer you get to Quebec, the more they just show whatever the hell you want. You get into Quebec.
That's where I was at.
They just frickin' it doesn't matter. Pretty much after I think 8 or 9 o'clock, you can basically see hardcore pornography on basic cable.
Yep.
When I took a trip to Quebec, and I think at the time I was around 12 years old. Oh, let's just say I had a good time once my parents went to sleep.
Greg became a man that night.
Or a woman, depending on how.
Hey, you know what? Maybe a little of each.
Little from column A, a little from column B.
Yep. Hey.
What happened to Rhino? Did I miss something? Did he die, or what's going on?
He went for a
real
poop break.
Yeah.
Did he go get a nookie or something?
Either one of those things will take about 3 minutes.
Just combine the two and maybe just poops on his wife. I'm just saying.
He's gonna poop on her chest. You know it's a dirty Sanchez.
Well, why not? No.
Oh, that's a Cleveland steamer.
No,
Look up dirty
Sanchez
Sanchez.
is when you give her the mustache.
Yeah.
That's how you can tell if you have a good relationship. That's the one defining factor.
I don't know. I think I have a pretty good relationship, and she doesn't like it when I poop on her chest.
Well, then it's not a good relationship, buddy. I'm just kidding.
All the divorce papers.
It's not that into defecation, you know.
It's not even about liking it. It's just about breaking down those boundaries. You know what I mean?
It's like going ass to mouth.
Never go ass to mouth. Cornelius Shannon says, hosting He's hoisting a few Shiner Ruby Redbirds. Will hoist the next in the last two, and now a cold freezer shot of Absolute Ruby Red and a double-sized frosted off freezer rack door. You need to invest in commas in your sentences, sir. Also going to enjoy some Jameson over Fudge Tracks, Decadence ice cream, or some such. Jesus Christ, dude.
There's a lot of effort going on in this beer drinking.
Yeah,
it's clamming, brother. Throw it right in your gullet, man.
Hey,
put all this fucking additional fucking introductory system into your body.
Yeah.
I got a quick question about that Ruby Redbird. All right, so I posted on my Untapped not too long ago when I got that case of Hetty, and I was offering trades out, and I had several people from Texas, and they're sitting there trying to trade me this Ruby Redbird for Hetty, and I had never heard of it, so I didn't take the deal. Did I miss out, or did I benefit greatly?
No, it's generic beer you can buy anywhere.
Then why the hell are they sitting there trying to trade me one for Hetty? You know,
people always think the shit they have is important, and the shit they want is not that important.
Is Shiner the only real thing in Texas?
No. They got Jester King, which is phenomenal. They have hold on. They got Jester King. They have Lone Star. Wait, no, not Lone Star. Not lied. They have
Texas is pretty shitty when it comes to beer. Let's put it this
Hold
way.
on, that is not true.
No, it is.
I stopped through there. They have some fantastic beer. I just can't think of them right now.
They have.
Hold on, I got some in my cellar. I'll be right back.
What is it? What's the beer you was talking about? Fucking Shiner. Shiner made one of the worst beers I've ever had in my life. It's called Birthday Beer. It's like some birthday cake beer that's supposed to taste like chocolate quarter birthday cake beer. Yeah. It's fucking vile, disgusting. Like it's almost like. I don't know why I haven't posted a review yet because it's like I'm like this. It's just dumpster swill. I'm shutting off the camera because I can't film anymore. Do that kind of stuff.
So what are we talking about?
Cheers, Texas.
We're talking about whether Texas has any good beer.
And if you poop on your wife.
Yeah, that was the other question. And
do I poop on my wife? No.
You should start.
I think she'd leave me.
Apparently that's how all good relationships are.
She'd leave me. She'd leave me in a heartbeat. Watch. Let's see what she says.
Do it.
Hey, Christy, can I poop on you?
Can I pee on you?
Can I poop on you?
Can I piss on you?
She's not answering.
No response.
Just walking at the back door.
Rhino Cat is trapped in the closet.
Just remember the old saying, silence bestows consent. So she's basically saying it's cool.
I think if you poop on her, this marriage is over.
I think we need to move our conversation away from fecal matter.
Yeah, well, there's 7 viewers. There's more people here since I left, so nobody likes my face. That's what it is.
It's because we started talking about pooping on people. It's actually
all you Shizer fiends in the audience start speaking.
Yeah, shit fetish.
Das pooping.
Any comments there, Lisa?
Hey, let's just talk about space docking and just like kicking up.
Shake what?
Yeah. Well, the only comment I read is the one which was sort of the topic of discussion just before you came back was
pooping. Sorry.
This guy was talking about he will hoist the next in the last 2 with a now cold freezer shot of Absolute Ruby Red. So he's mixing Absolute Ruby Red with his Shiner Red and a double-sized frosted off the freezer rack door, which I don't know. The guy doesn't use commas, so I don't know quite what he's saying.
Also, the poop reference.
Yeah, and he's also going to enjoy some Jameson whiskey, Irish whiskey, over Fudge Tracks Decadence ice cream or some
with the poop references.
Yeah.
Fudge Tracks is probably like Moose Tracks, so like a fudge and peanut butter ice cream.
I hope he's talking about ice cream because,
like your underwear.
Anyway, Shiner makes some okay beers and makes some good beers and makes some bad beers. I mean, Shiner's the Yingling of Texas.
Sure. I agree. I was going to try to argue that point, but they're pretty much the same thing.
I think the real question is, like, per capita, like, considering the size of Texas, how good is their craft beer compared to...
Well, I mean, again, all that type of question is subjective, right? I don't know many. There's only like 3 or 4 craft breweries I know of in Texas. Shiner, Jester King, and there's 2 others, but I just can't remember their names. And I know them because I watch their videos. Like, they've posted videos on YouTube, and I can't remember the names of them.
Okay, I went through my cellar. All right, so I just heard you mention Jester King. That is a must-have. Anything from Jester King is usually phenomenal. There's also Revolver. Revolver is going to be one of the next big breweries coming out of there. I had several of their beers. Absolutely some of the best quality, readily available beers I've had in a long time. There's Lone Creek, and they are making some phenomenal stuff. A lot of small batch sours and IPA stuff like that. Really freaking good. So I think Texas actually has a lot to offer, and they're slowly getting better. And have you ever had Buried Hatchet, the stout?
Yes, I've had Buried Hatchet.
That's good. It's good for solid quality.
Yes, it is. Yes. But I mean, what's that? Between all of us, we can name, what, 3, 4, maybe 5 craft breweries from Texas? That's less than what's coming out of Mexico.
Well,
it's less than what's coming out of Brazil.
I don't know if
Italy, France.
Yeah, but the thing is, sure, there might not be a huge, numerous amount of beers that everyone's losing their shit over, but they're making some high-quality crap.
Yeah, exactly, high-quality crap. When the good stuff comes out, we'll try it.
No, you know what I mean. It's legit high quality.
You actually just reminded me of the one thing that Ewart makes fun of all the time, which is Dar's, it's 93, it's garbage.
Garbage 93.
Garbage 93. But
I don't know if there's any good craft breweries in Alaska, but my parents are going there. So I'm hoping
there's Yukon Brewing Company, isn't it? What the hell's that brewing company called? They make oh fuck, I've had a bunch of beers from them. Midnight Espresso and all that. Who the fuck is that?
That's Yukon Brewing.
Yeah, Yukon Brewing. Yeah, okay, so that's the only one I know of off the top of my head.
You wouldn't think they'd have too many anyway. What's the population of fucking Yukon anyway, really?
Yeah, I don't think they'd have many.
I don't know. I just asked my parents because they're going on a tour of Alaska, so I just asked them, whatever you see. I don't know how they even sell liquor there, if it's just in regular stores.
Your parents to buy you beer?
Yeah, I think my parents.
Yeah, he's not old enough. He's not old enough to buy it.
Well, it's not so much I'm not old enough as the fact that I'm not in Alaska and they are.
He had to sneak into my beer festival.
Well, yeah, I mean, really, probably Yukon's the only place to go. I mean, otherwise, what are you going to find? You're going to find...
Well, Yukon...
You're going to find imported Budweiser and Coors and stuff because, that's essentially there for the people, the seasonal workers and shit who go through Yukon, like the truckers and stuff like that, right?
The Ice Road truckers.
No, that's right, the Ice Road truckers.
Well, I mean, whatever. I guess they bring back what they bring me back. I mean, they're on a plane. So
have you been able to get to Reinhard yet?
I have gone to Reinhard, and I got you a bottle of something, but I haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, and really, the way he's talking about you, Greg, you might not want to even give it to him at this point. You just might want to say, "Fuck you, Rhino. I'm going to keep it for myself."
You know what? At least he wasn't the person that broke a glass within 5 seconds of walking into the festival.
Yeah, but.
My name's Ewart. This isn't a stemware. Smash!
Not a Teku.
Not a Teku,
no,
bitches.
I actually went to Reinhard a couple months ago, but because all their shit was hoppy, and I don't know when the next time I'm going to be in Niagara, I just picked you up for stout, which I figured you'd be okay with. But yeah, all their other shit was like their, I think they had their IPA and their session IPA and their double IPA, all of which is like, well, in 3-4 months, it's not going to taste so good.
Understandable. No, it's just one of those breweries that interests me because I've seen what the building looked like before it was a brewery and everything. Mm-hmm. And I think that all these breweries buying up like industrial buildings in Toronto are doing an amazing thing because there's just all these buildings that are just vacant. Like
Well-
I saw the blast furnace building that Junction wants to buy, which is right near Reinhard.
Yeah.
And I hope that they get it because it would be a beautiful, beautiful building that they could do a lot of things with. And because it was a blast furnace, it'll have the structural integrity to have whatever they want, basically, for fermenters wherever they want to put them.
Well,
And
the thing about Reinhard Brewery is that it's right in one of the worst areas of Toronto, where basically, if you're driving through there, you're locking your doors and making sure your windows are up, so somebody doesn't just steal your car from you. And on top of that is, I think he's right beside like a meat packing plant, so there's like a river of blood basically coming from beside his brewery. So it's a little bit of a weird location, but I mean his beer's solid. I don't really like his IPs that much, mainly because it's just the flavors I don't like. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. It just doesn't, not really for me. But
now I don't remember, how are we on flavor profiles of IPAs? Are you the same type of hops as me or not?
I tend to like the more West Coast style, but I don't like the overly resiny kind, which is what.
Okay, so you're more like tropical fruits and.
I like it to a degree. I'm not quite as far as Joe is, where he just wants the tropical fruit bombs. I like kind of a little bit of pine, a little bit of everything, but I don't like the two American ones where it's kind of like a pine resin bomb. I'm not crazy about those. Like I usually don't like the the Centennial hops, I think is the one I don't like.
Yeah, Centennial I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of Simcoe. I know a lot of people love Simcoe. I can get behind it if it's used in the right way. Yeah, I can get behind Simcoe if it's used in the right way, but if it's used as an aroma hop, all I can smell is cat pee.
Pretty much, yeah. We do have a comment from Cornelius Shannon. He said, "Did I miss something? Was indisposed as well, not for the same reason. I never cared for this Bard. However, I like this one. Last year, my store didn't have it. Since I've loved Sculpin and Abita, another A that meh, not as oh my dude, English. Seriously, I mean, I'm not trying to insult you, but if you're gonna post a comment, at least try to compose it with full sentences and some sort of semblance of fucking grammar, dude. I'm sorry. He might be.
From what you've said, he's easier to understand than Tits Beer Bong 420.
Well, he is, but I mean,
usually I understand Cornelius fairly well. He has been a viewer for a long time. Usually I understand him fairly well, but the way you're reading it, I'm lost myself. But then
I am reading it straight. Like I am stopping where he puts either a question mark or a period or. And
Cornelius, again, you know I love you. I respond to everything. I'll go and read them myself after this view is done. But see, this is the reason why I get Lee to read the comments and not me. And for anyone that's comments are missed, sorry if it gets into my spam filter, I don't see it until after, because I let Lee do it, because there's enough times you see this on this camera, because I am legally blind, so to read the fucking screen, I'm like this to read it. So I try to sit back here where I know you can see me and all that, and that's just it. And good day, Mustachio. Mr. CA is Canada. I'm from the US, I don't know my American...
Yes, yeah, speaking of comments, I need to make a public announcement. I, Ethan, from Ethan's Beer Reviews, have made a horrible mistake. A couple of them, actually, on comments. And I want to say that it was because I was drunk and I make poor decisions. But that would be a lie, so...
The transvestite.
Yep.
I'm going to take this next. I was actually going to send this out in a beer mail to either Jordan or Lee or William, and I remembered it wasn't that great, so I didn't. It's Burn Razor County.
When did it ever stop you sending me beer before? Usually it's a fucking...
Basically, I wanted this cap. This is the only beer that they actually cap with an Oast cap, so I wanted
well, that's understandable.
So you're selfish, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I saw it, and I saw that, and I'm like, when am I going to go out there and go, hey, let me pay $7 for this beer again? Never. I'll never do that again. So...
Or you could like, hey, Oistos, I want to do another brewery tour. Hey, where do you keep your, excess caps? Oh, we come over here in a small little room. Smack! grab the caps and run.
Actually, I was actually just suggested because I'm trying to do my pints for prostates this year. It was planned last year and I didn't get it in time. I have to start organizing it before September if we're going to do it. So I'm trying to do it, and I need to find a venue that is willing to accommodate me and not charge me. Basically, I'm going to write the payment they're going to get from me is the donation, the charitable donation is going to be written in their name so they can claim it on their taxes. But I need to find a venue that will willingly accept that as the reimbursement. Instead of paying them like $300, give them like a $2,000 charitable donation in their name so they save more than $300. But Osthouse has actually been suggested as somebody that I talked to because Osthouse has the event space above that could possibly hold more than a few hundred people. So it would be something cool to do if they let me, and I'll talk to them sometime soon. But it's fine. You know what? I do the beer festival in Ridgeway. I'd like to do the other events somewhere else. I'm still gonna set up and nobody's watching at this point, and nobody cares at this point. But I'm still gonna set up my crowdfunding to see if I can buy fencing and all that to cut down on the costs of the festival itself, so that we can donate more. Whether or not it happens,
like Kickstarter or Patreon or something?
Something like that, yeah. I'm gonna do that just to see if I can actually make anything to buy fencing and all that, so I don't have to pay for it, so that we can actually donate more per year. And if I don't have to pay for it, I don't have as much of a worry going into it about what's going to happen with the festival, because I end up paying about $12,000 out of my own pocket that I'm waiting for the festival to see if I get reimbursed on every year.
So far, you've made your money back?
Both years I've made my money back and I've had money to donate. But if I can get fencing, I mean, renting fencing costs you like $2,000 a year. To buy fencing costs $7,000. So I could buy it and have it forever, and within 3 years it's been paid off. You know what I mean? Like,
if you actually do sort of Kickstarter of that, if it's connected to PayPal and shit, I'll definitely donate money to it.
Yeah, I don't know which site I'm going to use yet, but I'm going to do something. It's just I don't know if it's going to go through because I mean, you watch all these Kickstarter videos and they're all high quality, big time produced stuff. And you know what? If I had the money to do a big produced video, I wouldn't be asking you for money.
No. That's not true. I have donated to several Kickstarters for like.
Oh, I'm sure you have and other people have. I'm just saying that the majority of the videos you see up there, like breweries will go up and go, we're looking for $30,000 to do this, and they're like $6,000 in production cost. Really?
Yeah, but I mean, your Kickstarter will be more of a small time thing. This is something where you could throw that on throw it towards Canadian Beer News, and I'm sure Canadian Beer News would fucking
No, they don't like chat on Canadian Beer News.
Okay, well fuck them then. Throw it towards Jordan St. John. Throw it towards him. He'd probably fucking pimp the fuck out of it.
You know what? The weirdest thing is there's so many known places in Ontario that have to do with beer that hate me, and then there's him, which is like a legitimate beer personality in Canada, and he actually likes me. And Stephen Beaumont, a legitimate beer writer and all that, and he actually likes me. It's weird the people that actually like me versus the people that hate me.
But I mean, there's definitely channels you can promote yourself on, and I mean, if you're asking for a few thousand or something like that, put it up for like a 30-day Indiegogo or whatever the fuck you decide to choose for. I don't see it being a problem to be able to raise that money for fencing. I mean, I'll throw a couple $100 on it, no problem.
It's one of those things where, I mean, mattering what I make is mattering what I'd get. Fencing would be number one, and then you can buy old U-Haul trucks and stuff like that for like $2,000. I mean, all this different things that we could get for the festival for the different charitable events. Because I mean,
and then you could paint a giant rhino on the side of the truck too.
Well, yeah, and I mean, then there's what are you going to give as an award for because you always have the throwback.
I would pay without even wanting a perk. I mean, I would just
but I mean, you sit back and you think about the perks, and I'd be like, starting, I would give a thank you video with your name in it. Then I would give I'd get a sign that would be put up at every festival with your name on it. With that sort of thing. I mean, there's not much I can give. I mean, I'm a guy that just does a festival that is trying to be as cheap as it can be for you and cheap as it can be for the consumer.
Well, I mean,
am now. Go ahead, sorry.
Dude, when you look at the people who have supported the last two fucking fests, I mean, they're not interested in getting super fucking perks. I mean,
No, I know.
They'd be interested in just being part of it and supporting it. And I mean, even name recognition would probably be cool for most people, or some free drink tickets or whatever, right? I mean, you really don't have to go big.
I'm tied right now for the second cheapest beer festival in Ontario. There is my festival and Project Brew are the two cheapest festivals in Ontario. Project Brew is done by Niagara College, but only Niagara College breweries and breweries that are brewed at Niagara College are in Project Brew, so you don't have much of a selection. The next cheapest is a free festival, and it's in London, Ontario. It's the Forest City Beer Fest. It's completely free to get into. However, every vendor is paying $1,000 to get in, where my vendors are paying $100.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, it's free for the consumer, but it's not free at all for the vendor. And I mean, I'm trying to be as honest and as acceptable for both the vendor and the consumer as I can be.
Well, the nice thing about your festival, there's clearly some
Fair.
like very small-time brewers. Like I think one of them, their very first batch of beer was at your festival.
Yes.
And, otherwise, I imagine they probably couldn't afford to do like the Toronto Beer Festival or something. But
No,
it's nice
Toronto Beer Festival would be $2,000 just for your own table, or $800 for a shared table.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice that like I got to try a whole lot of these different breweries that otherwise I may never have even heard of because they're so small.
Yep.
That's a good point. That is a good point, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Mustache.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I'm trying to be as fair as I can to both the consumer and the consumer and the vendor. And I mean, even the food vendors. The food vendors are making more money than the breweries, and I'm charging the food vendors $75. Plus, I told them it's $75 plus I want $25 in free food for my volunteers. Again, and that $25 of free food, I'm expecting them to charge me their prices for it. So maybe I'd get 2 meals from each food vendor.
Yeah. No, I think going for Indiegogo or whatever, just to get some fucking fencing, I think that would work pretty well. I think that would fly. I think most people would fucking support that. Like I'm saying, guaranteed, I would throw $200 towards you for that.
Well,
No
if that $200 kept you from coming next year, I'd rather you keep that $200.
Well,
no,
there's a WWE event that weekend.
Yeah, as long as there's no WWE event, we're okay.
Yeah, well, you can go fuck yourself, Greg. Go fuck yourself, Chad.
Just as a preliminary, just so people know if they're thinking about it. I'm not going to give the exact date because I haven't been okayed yet to go back to Ridgeway because there was those 2 problems that Ridgeway is now fighting over whether or not they want
public
to come back.
urination.
Yeah, the public urination that happened like 4 hours after my festival, which means it had nothing to do with me. But Ridgeway is discussing whether or not we should have it be back and whether or not we need police. If police are needed, I'm not going back. They're also discussing a $6 million insurance instead of $2 million. Nothing has happened at any of our festivals, nothing at all. So if you want me to go $4 million more, I'm just going to do the festival in Niagara Falls or something where I'm paying the exact same amount of money and I'll get more people. I'm okay with that. Anyway, it will not be the first week of May like it's always been. I won't give you the exact date, but here's what I'll say. The second week of May is Mother's Day, so it won't be then, and the 4th week of May is Victoria Day, so it won't be then. And it won't be the first week. So there you go.
Oh my God.
So you're saying perhaps the 5th week of May.
Yeah, the 5th week of May.
No, it's a Halloween.
That'll be the summer though.
No. So yeah, there you go. Everyone can figure out exactly when it was just by that description, and that's exactly what I'm going to tell you.
I don't understand. If you already have a $2 million insurance policy, what exactly do they expect is going to happen? That's going to cost more.
Exactly, right? Like, I have a $2 million insurance policy is what they want every time I do
could catch on fire.
Like I said, the only reason I did it in Ridgeway, I mean, Ridgeway's a beautiful location. It makes a beautiful festival. It has a lot of hotels in walking distance that are a beautiful price and everything else. It even has a campground, so the further into the year we go, the better it is for campers, too. But it has a lot of amenities for people that want to be at the festival. But the only reason it started at that festival was $2 million is what every town or city wanted. Their insurance was a third of the price of anywhere else. It was my first year. The insurance was $200 and some in Ridgeway. almost $800 in St. Catharines, $1,000 in Niagara Falls, and like $1,500 in Niagara-on-the-Lake. So we went in Ridgeway. The next year, because we had more of an expectation, the price was $450, but still a lot cheaper than anywhere else. If you're going to get me to do $5 million, I'm looking at the same price as doing it here in Niagara Falls. I might as well do it here in Niagara Falls then.
Yeah.
It would be a much bigger beer fest.
It would be.
Yeah.
But I'm guaranteed if I do it in Niagara Falls, then I'm getting inspected.
So you just have to be.
Charge $5-10 admission and make a little bit more money for charity or something.
And I mean, I've had 4 different ticket vendors come to me and go, "Hey, do you want to work with me?" And you know what? I did WagJag last year. I got 38 ticket sales from WagJag. The way I do my festival is I pay myself back for whatever I put into it, and then everything else goes directly to charity. I knew how much I was getting from WagJag, so Guy, Simon, and Nick went right to Ronald McDonald House like 2 days later, and we dropped the money off, and it was amazing, and they're amazing people, and it's an amazing thing they do, and I figured I was getting my money like I was told I was, and then I had to wait 45 days. I had to wait 30 business days. So
I remember you told us this before we left, I think.
Yeah. 45 days later, I got my first check from WagJag, and it wasn't as much as they were supposed to give me, so I couldn't even put it back on my credit card. And then I'm like, well, where's the rest of the money? Oh, you got to wait another 45 days for the other 40%.
Wow.
Yeah, next year, fuck you guys. I'm not waiting 80 days so you guys get the interest on every payment. I'll bite the bullet on those 38 tickets, and I'll just sell it on Ticket Scene and at the locations that I was selling it at. That's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, a friend of mine he's a carny, and his family, they run Screamers in Toronto, it's like a haunted house thing in October or whatever. And yeah, they tried WagJag one year, and yeah, they got royally screwed by it.
I mean, I got good. The only good thing I had going with WagJag is WagJag normally takes 40% of your 40% of the ticket sales right off the bat. So you're supposed to give them a deal, and then they take 40% of whatever is above that deal. And when he was talking to me, because the guy loves the reviews, and he watches the reviews, and he's used the reviews to buy beers and all that, I was talking to the owner, not their salespeople. And he's like, okay, what do you want to do? Because we can do this. So he's like, I'll even only charge you $5 a ticket. What do you want to do for the special? So we worked it out where I didn't lose any money, and I still had some money for the charity, because I'm like, this is how much it cost me per person. I can't go any lower than that. I'm not losing money for you to get people into my festival. You know, like, it's just the way it is. This is not a sponsor's money. This is my money. I'm not losing anything. I'm okay with breaking even, but I'm not losing anything ever. And that's the way it went. And I ended up making like $2 for charity for each person. So we had 38 people come in, so we made $76 towards charity. Where if we had sold it just as 38 people, we would have made 200 and something for charity. So next year, I don't think I'm working with them. It's not worth it in the long run.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people think these companies really, really help you, and they only help you if you're just wanting to get the numbers through. But if you don't actually have an overhead, like say you're a salon and you want to get a whole bunch of people through, you just charge enough that it covers your costs, and maybe your workers are going to get some nice tips. So you get the people through, they see what you have to offer, all that. But for this type of thing, I'm actually trying to raise money for something good. I'm actually trying to use my BeerTube name and what I've done to actually help the community. And it's just not worth it for me. It's really not worth it for me.
Okay, we do have one other comment here. Holdswath says, River of Blood beside a brewery? Awesome. I'm going to head over to Reinhardt and listen to some metal.
Is it Hold's Mouth?
No, it's Holdswath.
Okay, never mind. Hold's Mouth is the one that sent me the video game, so I was going to say hey to Will if it was him.
Yeah, but it's not, so fuck you.
Alright, I'm going to head out, guys.
Alrighty, Nick. Have a good night.
Cheers, Nick.
See you next week.
Yeah, a River of Blood beside the brewery is something great if you're a metalhead. Like, oh my god, look at this.
River of Blood.
If you guys wanted to know what I was drinking tonight,
No one cares, Ethan.
No one really cares, but
Go ahead,
what's
Ethan.
going on, Ethan? What are you drinking, sir?
it's
Sorry.
the I don't know. I'm probably gonna butcher this, but it's the Cuvée des Jacobins.
Oh,
Uh,
it's from
they're-
Jacobite?
Yeah, the Rouge. So it's actually my
They make some great beers.
yeah they
House
they-
Traquair there.
what's that?
The House Traquair, the Traquair Ale and all that, and the Traquair Jacobite Ale and everything. They make some amazing beers there.
This is the only one. This is the only one that I saw, but
Is
they
it from Canada?
The other ones, the bottles are shaped way different, and the labels are like totally different, right?
yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just says it's brewed and bottled by Bacor, Belgium, imported by Artisanal Imports, Austin, Texas. So
Is it from Canada?
no, it says it's from Belgium.
You know, every video I comment on from now on, I'm going to ask you if it's from Canada.
I just want to pipe in for a second. Hold Swath says, "Hey Rhino, y'all, it's Will. You got my name wrong, haha." Well, if it said Will in the fucking comment section, it would have said Will, but it says Hold Swath, so shut the fuck up.
Anyway,
No, he's probably making fun of me because it's a W instead of an M. It's
I don't give a fuck. It says Hold Swath. He didn't read it. I read it.
He should actually get his package tomorrow because he's in Toronto. So I hope everything shows up okay. I know you don't have videos. It's too bad because I love unboxing videos. I'd love to see one. I know you don't have them. I'm sad because you're the only one I won't get an unboxing from. But I'll get an unboxing from Lee and from Jordan. I was just, when I was upstairs taking a poo, I had my cell phone and I was checking the tracking numbers. And apparently they sat at Niagara Falls from yesterday until today. That pisses me off. It pisses me off completely. You know what? The cutoff for shipping at my post office is 2 p.m. So if I get a package into my post office at 10:30 in the morning, it should be in Mississauga that same day to move on from there. So you guys probably won't see your packages until Monday, and that just angers me.
Yeah, it says for me Tuesday is going to be the expected delivery date.
Yeah, I'm actually more expecting Monday myself, but that's me. Just from sending stuff to you as many times as I have, that's what I'm expecting from that. But I'm just pissed off that it waited from 10 a.m. yesterday until 5 p.m. today to get 45 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
Like, I should have just got my wife to drive me to Mississauga and dropped it off at the sorting facility there.
Well, make sure you do that next time.
Actually, here's the thing, right? I don't like shopping at stores. I don't like crowds. I don't like people. I don't like... Lee's the same as me in a way for people and crowds and all that, which is funny because I do a beer festival. But I don't like crowds. I don't like people. It's not that I don't like I don't like crowds of people. I don't like being surrounded. I don't like having my personal space invaded. It freaks
The
me.
Rhino likes being out in the wild.
Yeah, it is true, and I'm a big guy, so I like my space. And I mean, yeah, I have a gut, but I'm also a big guy. I'm a big guy, and I'm a big guy. So I'm a double big guy. I'm double wide, if you will. But I have these. I do this stuff. I shop online a lot, and today I had a package show up from Walmart, and I shopped on Walmart. I like clearance shopping. So I was supposed to get a shelf. I was supposed to get a multimedia shelf that I was going to put some of my games on, and a pair of swimming trunks. The swimming trunks were on clearance for $1. I got the swimming trunks in their little envelope, and it was actually a 4-piece order. It was a 4-piece order because they split it into 4 shipments. So this was shipment 1, was supposed to be the media shelf and the pants. Tomorrow I'm supposed to get a video game in one of the shipments and 2 movies in another shipment. So there we go. There's the shipments, and today's shipment was and another shipment. The 4th part is just a pair of shorts and a shirt for my son for school. So the first shipment showed up. It's supposed to be the shorts and the media shelf. I walk outside. It says it was delivered. I heard the dogs bark. It was like 10 minutes after the dogs barked that I got my clothes on and got outside because I was cooking breakfast for my kids. I don't cook the breakfast in naked. I'm in my boxers, so don't say I'm naked. Fuck you guys. But I had to get clothes on to go. I had to get clothes on to go out on the front porch. So this was like 10 minutes. 10 minutes from the dogs barking to me getting outside. I get outside. The box of the media shelf is nowhere to be found, but the package the little envelope with the shorts is in my mailbox, and I'm like, well, that's not the media shelf. I open up the thing thinking maybe it's my kids' stuff, and it was just like the tracking numbers were wrong. And no, the invoice in the thing says media shelf and shorts. I was like, well, that's awesome because I didn't get the shelf. Well, what do I do now? Because I can't put a ticket into Canada Post because she clicked it as delivered. And Walmart's like, well, Canada Post says they delivered it. I'm like, okay, guys, one of you, the two of you is fucked up. I'm like, before I freak out, I'll give you to the end of the day to see if it's just on her truck and she delivers it late. You know, like maybe they put it in at the different times. That's possible. So it was 5 p.m. and it wasn't here yet, and I'm like, okay, I can't call customer service to either company now because customer service is closed. So tomorrow I get to fight with them about where this shelf is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I don't like crowds. That's why I shop online. But this is the first time in like 8 years of shopping online that I'm getting fucked. And normally I shop with Amazon. I don't normally shop with Walmart and all that. Amazon, if Amazon, I got reimbursed for a movie. I bought the Transformers, the entire series of Transformers cartoon, right? Like all 7 seasons. And it said it was delivered, and I'm like, I don't know where it was delivered, but the UPS guy drove up to my house, he parked in front of my house, he looked in the back of his truck, then he drove away. Like, I was out gardening at the time. Like, I go inside, and it says it's delivered. So I don't know where he put this, but it's not at my neighbor's house, it's not at my house, it's nowhere else. He stopped in front of my house, got out, looked in the back, and then drove away, and it says it's delivered now. So I don't know where this is. And they reimbursed me without even arguing with me. They're like, okay, yeah, here you go. You spent thousands of dollars with us, and this is the only time you complained? Here you go. You know, like, not even a question.
Sure your mailbox wasn't a robot in disguise?
I'm sure it wasn't a robot in disguise. He had to get past me to get to the mailbox, so I know he didn't deliver it. And I was waiting for it anyway because I don't like my wife knowing what I bought online, so I like to get it before she sees it because she'll open every package. So I was waiting for him, and he pulled up, and I stopped my gardening, and I'm watching him, and he got back in his truck and drove away. And I'm like, where the fuck's my movie? And they're like, well, that was our last one. From here on in, it's like $60 instead of $20. So do you want a reimbursement? I'm like, yeah, give me my reimbursement, bitch. I'm not paying $60. The only reason I paid for it was $20 for 7 seasons of fucking Transformers. I didn't tell them that a week later my neighbor dropped off the package.
Of course not. Why would you?
It was a week later, so it was. I don't even know what happened. I don't know if he somehow snuck beyond me. My wife is outside too, so she's like, "Hey, UPS is in front of our house." I'm like, "Did he go to the neighbors? No, he didn't go to the neighbors." So this guy must have been a fucking ninja. He was a shinobi because somehow he delivered the package to my neighbor's house without anybody seeing him.
Maybe your wife was too busy looking at you gardening.
Maybe. Because I do make a mean hot pepper. I grow a mean hot pepper.
There you go. She was looking at you bending over, tending to your peppers. Really turned her on?
Maybe.
Sounds legit. Holdswath says, thanks for the package again, Chad. I'll let you know once I get it. Good night, all.
Good night, Holdswath. Will. Good night. Have a good night. Again, I'm sad. I want to see an unboxing. I like seeing people excited when they get my beers. You know what? That's the only reason I actually beer trade with beer tubers. Well, I beer trade with Lee and Nick and all that because I love them, but the only reason I beer trade with other people...
He's not a beer tuber anymore.
Yeah, I know. But the only reason I beer trade with anybody else is to see their excitement when they open it, because even if the beer sucks, people are excited to open something and be like, hey, this is the beer I can't get. Yeah! And that's the best part about it all, is to see somebody excited to try a beer. And Ethan's smiling because he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Not really. This is actually my first Flanders Red ale, and it is damn sour. It's probably like my first official sour beer, actually, because like I always see them all the time. I just never pick them up, and I said it in one of my videos I did. I just said, "Fuck it, I'll pick them up."
Flanders ales are sour. Just
No, I mean, I kind of assumed that only because of the fact that it says sour ale on there, and it only cost me like $3 or whatever for a single 11-ounce bottle. So I figured, why not try it? So
Well, no. Come just because this is on the bottle, Ethan. You want to be jumping to conclusions here, dude.
Yeah, I bought it because it's barrel aged. That's why. That's exactly the reason.
You whore.
So, but yeah, it's good. I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, so I want to tell Matt real quick. Huge news. Surge is coming back.
What?
Surge, the soda pop. Yeah, they're bringing it back apparently on in September, early September. And
Now,
it's
I'm
only
curious
for
as to why you would target me for that. Like, I'm just curious.
Where's it at?
I'm just trying to be funny, dude.
I know you are.
Who made Surge originally?
I don't even remember. I don't know, probably like 7-Up. There you go.
This just got really weird, awkward.
Yeah, a little bit.
I gotta say, Matt, I really appreciate the thumbnail on one of your latest videos here, where it's like tits staring me in the face.
Me?
The Burke County, Cicerone Creek Golden Avalanche Stouts, whatever. It's tits.
Oh, okay, fantastic. That's it.
Awesome.
You know, I always go for the tits.
That's great. I love that. I will be watching.
I think that's like a 60-year-old woman, by the way.
Hey, they look good for a 60-year-old woman.
Yeah. Actually, it was a super interesting. I'll tell you right now. I went like 2 weeks ago. I got a bug up my ass. And I was like, fuck it. I hadn't been to a brewery in like a couple weeks, or more than a couple weeks. It's been a long time, and I was like, fuck it. Here we go. There's a local place close to me called Saucony Creek. Small place, makes good shit. Anyway, decided to go on a Monday. That's my Sunday, or my Monday is everybody else's Sunday, and I was like, fuck it, I'll go. And I texted my brother-in-law, and he's just getting into beer. So I was like, okay, you want to go to this small brewery? It's about an hour away from me. He's like, yeah, sure. And then he starts mapping out the day. He's like, but if we go there, we can go to this place, and we can go to this place. So I was like, dude, I don't want to do that. I'm like, I just want to fucking go to this one place. He's like, come on. I was like, fine. So I ended up hitting 3 breweries that day. Ended up hitting Saucony Creek, which was awesome. Ended up hitting this tiny little, like, kind of not homebrew, but nano brew in a fucking bar. Then went to the Stouts place. And ended up doing reviews with all the pretty much all the brewers from all the places. And then when I finished the Stouts one, Stouts has been around for.
I just picked up one of their beers. They're Fat Dog.
Yeah, and they've been around forever to the point where, like, if you actually go into the video they did right at the intro, you could look. I scroll through about I want to say 30 to 40 of their GABF medals and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, they've been around forever. And I did a review or interview with the brewer, and they sat down and they ordered food, and I got up to take a piss. And when I come back, my brother-in-law is talking to this old lady. It ends up being the owner, this 6-year-old lady who opened a brewery in like the 70s. And she sat down and talked on camera for like 20 minutes. And like she's like, yeah, I've been through this, I've been through that, and it's just this big, kind of like this cool little history ride through time of the way beer was and the way it is and the way it's gonna be, kind of almost. And I was like, this is fucking fantastic. It was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had in my life with beer.
Right on.
You know what? I last year at the Niagara Craft Beer Festival, which is ran by Ashley and a few other people that are money-hungry people that do the same thing that the Toronto Festival of Beer is, which is you're not allowed to make a profit in a beer festival. They take whatever they make and they pay themselves that as their wage instead of being a profit. But anyway, when I was there, I interviewed the owner of Highlander Brewing Company, and Highlander doesn't make the best beers ever, but that guy was a cool guy to talk to because he was an old guy in like his 60s, and he just loved beer, and he was an old Scottish guy, and it was great just to talk to him, and it was a cool thing to do. It's funny because you think, I mean, I don't think, I know that I'm a nobody in the beer industry, yet I've made so many friends doing this and learned so much just talking to people that it's hysterical.
It is. It's fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like going to things like that, like Stouts. Like, they make the beers I've really enjoyed. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they're kind of like a ripple in the puddle. But when you go into there and you sit down and you talk to this old lady who's actually started the place in the 70s, built the company up, and makes all these beers, and then you're just you're hearing it from that perspective. It's just it's fucking amazing. I was freaking out. She's like, no, eat. I'm like, no, I don't want to fucking eat. I'm like, I want to talk to you. I'm like, your food is probably fantastic. I don't give a shit. Tell stories. You know what I mean? And she was fucking fantastic. It was such a great time.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I fell in love with Innocent Gun. Really, I loved the beer, and then I got to sit and chat. They were one of my first beerumentaries. It was hysterical that they jumped on it, and Dougal was just down from Scotland at the time, and I got to chat with Dougal and Nick, and it was me, James, and Boychuk at the time. So me, the cartoon, and Mantos, for those of you that have watched the videos before. And they were great people to talk to, and that's how I fell in love with them, was just them being them, and how I've been friends with them ever since. I mean, yeah, I've harassed Dougal because he's Dougaled me, and Dougal, that's a new term that I made years ago, which is stealing my recipe. He Dougaled me. But he's given me so much that I can't really be fully angry. I can just harass him about it. And the guy is a good guy, and the company is a good company, even though he sometimes I think he's an idiot for some of the things he does. Like, he had a beer that he thought was one of the best beers ever, which I invented as well, and then he didn't make it because his marketing people said they couldn't sell it. Well, that's when you get new marketing people, but that's just me. But yeah, it's one of those things where there's so many people in the industry that you meet and you either befriend or just get to hear from, and it's an amazing thing. Like, I don't think I'll ever talk to Andy from Nita again, but he was one of the coolest guys I've met in the Ottawa beer scene. Actually, I would probably say he's the guy in the Ottawa beer scene that I could get behind and support. And the rest of the people that I met in Ottawa, I don't really care about, but the guy from Nita was awesome.
But that singular experience, I totally understand. I've had it multiple times, but this one kind of blew my mind. It's because it was an obscure, almost curmudgeon-y, introvert that I went on a Monday. It was 5 in the afternoon. I grabbed something to eat, and just happened upon organic conversation. It wasn't like I was like, "Hey, can I talk to you about your brewery?" I already did all that shit, and I was just sitting down eating and just randomly talked to a person who just started wanting to spill their guts about the beer industry, and not just beer industry that they were in for a month or a year or 10 years. We're talking 40 years, and they hear somebody talk about it like that was just kooky. To me, it was exciting, but at the same time, it was historic. It was really fun. It was one of my favorite beer things in the history of my life. It was I can't quantify it. I don't know.
Yeah, right on.
Now, Mr. King of BeerTube, who is leaving right now, how's your brother doing? He's gone already. Can't hear me. Fucker. He's gone. I thought I was saying it just as he was leaving. I forget that there's a lag. There's a slight lag on these
things. He's gone. So how bad does your Xbox suck, Chad?
Actually, my Xbox doesn't suck, but
I know it doesn't.
I remember now why I don't care much for new games. Is they're so easy and they're so quick to beat nowadays. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, really? I mean, I could have made the game last longer if I looked in every corner of places for scrolls and shit, but I'm like, fuck this, I'm playing the game. And I remember saying when I finished it, it's a 12-part series. Every part is somewhere between 20 minutes to half an hour. There's one 1-hour segment, and that's the very last segment. So the game took me about 4.5 hours to beat. It was there was a lot of cinematics, so gameplay time was probably like 3 hours. And I'm like, really? You kids that play this shit, you don't know what gaming was like. And I even said it. I'm like, there's 8-bit games that took me like 70 hours to beat, and then there's this, which is 800 bits, and it takes nothing.
I had a Sega Genesis when PS2 was out, so I didn't even get an Xbox One until...
I played Nintendo for a long time. I played Super Nintendo for a long time. It wasn't until I was paying for things with my own money that I got a next-gen system, and my next-gen system was a PS2 right before PS3 came out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where I was. I like PlayStation, I really do. And like me and Nat talked about last week, the reason I went with the Xbox was the money versus just basically the money thing. For the most part, was the only reason I went with the Xbox One. Well, with performance, because the PlayStation 4 will perform better. It's just how many games will perform better. I mean, with the single franchise games, it was a wash. I mean, there are some things I'm sad I'm missing out on, but not that many. But I mean, the only thing I dislike about the Xbox One that the PS4 doesn't do is the updating and then installing the entire game on your system. But I have a terabyte system, so I don't care all that much, but it does frustrate you at the same time when you have to wait like 45 minutes before you can play the game.
Yeah.
Like, that's the greatest thing about 8-bit systems, right? Or even all the way up to like 64-bit systems.
Plug it in and play, motherfucker.
Yeah, here's
no patches, no nothing.
You put the fuck in the thing and it plays. You know, like, bang, you're done. There you go.
And Game Genie. Game Genie was awesome, too.
Yeah, Game Genie was awesome. It was. I actually have some wires over here, too. I have the component wire for the Elgato whenever somebody comes over where we're playing a really old system. And then I have the microphone splitter so that when people come over, we can actually... I bought a second headset. It's the exact same headset I'm wearing, just in blue, so I can tell which one's which. And
nice.
That's just so we can hook them up to the microphone jack
what
on the computer.
What headsets did you buy?
They're fucking, I don't even know. They're from China. They work perfectly great. I mean, they work really good. It was just taking time to learn how to get the Elgato to pick them up properly. Like the first four videos for Rise Son of Rome, they didn't pick up really well. And then I learned exactly where the settings had to be to keep it from overpowering, but to keep it so you could hear me. What are the... Sadie's, the company Sadie's.
Okay.
I noticed the same thing happened in your last like 2 reviews as well.
My last 2 reviews. That's interesting because my last 2 reviews I posted were on the tablet.
Yeah, but it was getting like the same, like your voice was cutting out and getting lower.
Interesting.
I don't
Well,
know,
thank you for telling me that. Nobody tells me these things, right? Like, I just have to guess how things are going. I've been recording a lot more webcam, tablet, and cell phone videos because I don't edit them at all, right? I just record them and post them.
I figured it was just some sort of directional thing where the mic was on the tablet.
It might have been because the last 2 were on the tablet, and I don't like using the tablet because, like I said, it's weird to me because the microphone's probably on the back. That's my guess. Because I was using the high definition camera, which is the back facing camera, so I'm guessing that's where the microphone is on that thing because it's not made for cell phone calls or anything. Where when I use the back camera on the cell phone, it's perfectly fine because the microphone's on the front. But I don't like this. I don't like recording on the tablet because the tablet it just looks like I'm right in front of it. When I was like my hand couldn't reach the fucking cup unless I leaned in. So I was a good 5 feet away from the cup, but it looked like I was right in front of it. And I can't back up. That's the standard view for that camera. And it's like, really? I can't zoom out to where it should be?
Wow.
And it's a good tablet, right? It was the tablet I bought for my wife for her birthday, but she wanted an iPad, not a tablet, so I had to... And she told me that too late, like I'd already bought it for too long to return it. So I'm like, okay, I have a tablet, and I like it because the battery lasts for like a month over like the 3 days that my Motorola cell phone lasts. But at the same time, I basically use it to check Facebook and to untap beers, and to record the odd video here and there.
Video looked good. It was just the sound.
Yeah, okay. So I'll do a video the other way next time. I'll do it with the front-facing camera and see if that works better.
Yeah,
I want to do videos on the drones sometime soon because I have 4 drones too, and
aerial beer reviews.
Yeah, well, 2 of the drones.
Yeah.
2 of the drones, when you fly them, the microphones still work really well, and 2 of the drones, when you fly them, the microphone sounds like it's the monster from Evil Dead coming at you.
I don't know which one is a better option at this point. It might be equally as good.
They're fun drones to play with. The problem is I bought them from a company that's a fairly new company, so you're getting a good quality drone for a lot less money than you'd get from the more standard companies, but you have to sit there and fine-tune them for like 10 minutes. And anyone that's flown a drone knows that you only have like 6 to 10 minutes of battery life, so sometimes it takes you like 4 hours to get them tuned right to just hover, because you have to sit there and you fly it up and see which way it goes and then land it and fine-tune it and then fly it again, land it, and you just have to keep doing that until you get it perfect so that it'll hover, and then you have to hope the battery doesn't die.
What's the microphone like on the drone?
I have 2 drones that the microphone is amazing on, and 2 drones that it's okay on. I did a Red Bull review on one of the drones, and it's the standard definition drone. It's the SEMA drone. They're all from the exact same company, because after they contacted me, they're this company again. They're fairly new. They actually make drones for other companies and put the other company's name on them, and they started making their own. And they're fairly new, and they're like, we're all about customer service. And they contacted me, and I'm like, this is what I do. This is what I want to do with them. This is what I'm hoping to do with them. I just have to get better at them, because they don't fly as well right out of the box as some of the other companies' drones. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you a 20% discount for whatever you buy, this and that. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm looking at buying their first-person view one, which is you set your cell phone up, and your cell phone can actually show you exactly what the camera is recording at the time.
What you should do is you should do a review of your neighbors having sex with your drone.
I don't think anyone wants to see that.
I'm not gonna own a drone. I don't want it to turn on me.
It probably will, Ethan.
The drones I have, Ethan, 2 of them are mini drones and 2 of them are full-size drones, so they're fun. The 2 full-size drones.
See, Ethan, drones aren't intelligent, like they don't have AI or anything like that. But in your case, they probably would develop AI just so they could turn on you.
Yeah, a drone is completely remote controlled. I actually have looked at.
Someone could wirelessly hack into it, and all my drones are mounted with handguns, so.
A buddy of mine, actually a guy I grew up with, who went to my high school and was a wrestling referee, I was a wrestler and he was a referee. His name is Andy Stewart. He has a YouTube channel called Danger Bay. He bought a house on Constance Bay. He was an X Games performer. He did ski board, he did skateboard, and a few other things. He made a lot of money when he was young, like in his 20s, and he bought his house. And he doesn't have a job, he just does his YouTube stuff, his Danger Bay stuff, which is stupid stunts on Constance Bay. Well, when Constance Bay was frozen in the winter, he mounted Roman candles to a drone, like a $2,000 drone. And he flew the drone firing Roman candles at his buddies as they ran across the bay. And that thing became viral. It went viral, and then he had the police show up at his door, and he had Transportation Canada saying that it's illegal to carry a dangerous payload and this and that. And he's like, it's a Roman candle. I can shoot myself in the face and be perfectly fine. So he doesn't do that anymore. But it was an awesome video to watch nonetheless. He had another drone. He had a $700 drone that they flew once in November, and it crashed into the Constance Bay, and nobody could find it. And I guess one of his neighbors, like 2 miles down, found it like 5 days ago and brought it back to him. And he had a GoPro attached to it. And the GoPro still works, so he's like, wow. GoPros are amazing. It's been under the lake and through the freezing weather and everything for months, and it still works.
Sweet.
Very solid item.
Yeah, he's like
Danger Bay. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, the drone is garbage, but the fucking GoPro still works. And he posted a video of the GoPro, so you see it crash into the river, and then you have like 45 minutes of it just having murky water showing up on the camera.
Hey, just throw that shit in the Loch Ness and see what they can find.
I don't own a
Probably put
GoPro.
Jimmy Bob's body.
My waterproof fisheye camera is a Polaroid, and it actually works pretty well too. It's what I've used at the pool the last few times we did pool reviews. The microphone isn't the greatest unless you start recording out of the water. If you start recording and you're under the water and then it comes out of the water's stuck in the fucking microphone holes, and it's not the greatest.
Yeah,
But,
I've heard that in some of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a fun camera to play with, and it's learning, right? It doesn't have a video, it doesn't have like a way to see what you're recording, so you don't see it until afterwards. So it's a fun camera to play with.
Yeah. The old Canon I have the ability, if I want to buy a waterproof attachment for it.
Oh, the casing?
Yeah.
That just makes cameras so big and bulky.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the waterproof Polaroid I bought was I bought the fully high definition version. It was like $149, I think, and then you could buy a high definition hybrid camera that was like $100, and that's perfectly fine for a fully waterproof, drop-proof camera with a fucking helmet attachment and a handlebar attachment and everything else. I mean, they're sports cameras is what they're made for. So I mean, they do exactly what you need them to do. I thought about getting a GoPro, but I don't like a GoPro. I've watched them; they seem to have a little bit of a lag and this and that, and that's just because the other husband, he owns like 3 GoPros. So I've seen what all of his GoPros do. I don't know if it's his editing or what, but I just don't like the way they look.
Yeah. We have 2 comments from Paul. PA Brew News says, "No Joe, fuck this."
Well, you know what, PA Brew News? Fuck you. No, I love you. Don't worry.
And he says drones will be shot down if there's anyone from Kentucky there, apparently.
Yeah, that was a news article. There was a guy who shot down a drone that was hovering over his property in Kentucky.
Hey, good on him.
The drone owner showed up and was like, "You shot down my drone. You owe me for a new drone." And he's like,
No.
"Fuck you. It was on my property."
Yeah, fuck you. Fuck off, you're a piece
that's
of shit
just
drone.
it. Everybody needs to learn that property is not theirs once you're just in the air.
Dude was flying his fucking drone over into the dude's yard and maybe apparently spying on his fucking daughter or something like that. Like, no, fuck you.
I'm sure that whole daughter thing is probably a stretch, but it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, exactly.
He was flying the drone into his fucking space. Like he put that in there. I'm pretty sure to like butter the fucking bread.
Yeah, probably.
But at the same time, she should be like, "Listen, motherfucker, shit was my space. I'm shot it down. Go fuck yourself." That should be the end of the argument.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, it's not like like you said, if the guy was just flying over his property quickly, okay, right, I'm not going to shoot your shit down. But he was hovering that shit into his property, like he wasn't moving quickly. So it's like, okay, dude, what are you doing? You want your shit shot down or what? What's going on?
Well, I can say if I had a drone, I would use it for purposes that would get me arrested. So that's why I don't have a drone.
Oh, terrorism.
I have 4 drones and I don't use them for purposes that would get me.
No, in Blylog's case, it would not be terrorism. It would be
voyeurism.
Hidden spy cam in the
yes.
locker room. Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad you understand me. I'm not a terrorist.
Let me tell you, for anyone that thinks that you can buy a drone and silently sneak it up on somebody, they are loud. No matter what company drone you own, you know they're coming. So unless they're like 30 meters in the air where you can't hear them anymore, you know they're coming.
Or you're like part of the government. You have these supersonic drones that
Yeah.
float around us at all times because they're filming me right now. Because I was like,
Watching Matt
Actually, you know what? The other day, I was at a bottle share on Sunday, and we're sitting there, and everybody's talking about checking in on fucking Untapped and all that shit. And I was like, you know what? I'll check it in the best place in the history of mankind. My iPhone's jailbroken, so I have a GPS thing where I can check in anywhere I want. So I went to Antarctica, but it wouldn't actually the way the map laid out. It wouldn't actually put me in Antarctica, so I couldn't check out or check in a beer on Untapped in Antarctica. I'm like, fuck it. Where's the next best place? North Korea. So I checked in Pyongyang, North Korea. So I'm like, oh wait a minute. Now I'm on some kind of fucking list because I literally just checked in a beer in North Korea. So there you go.
Kim Jong-un's got your balls now.
Actually, that was what I put on there. It's best beer I've ever had with Kim Jong-un. That was what I put in there.
That's right. You want to keep that government confused.
Don't worry, you're a big dude with a beard and tattoos. There's no way you can be a terrorist.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, just here's a drone. Okay, big, normal-sized drone. Here's the sound when the engines go. You know she's coming.
Oh boy.
Unless it's the summertime and everyone's got their weed whackers going.
Yeah, you know she's coming.
Or vibrators, or girls have vibrators.
Yeah,
doing it.
exactly, yeah.
Not to
Take that
mention
to
that most of these
Neil
most
sorority.
drones are equipped with LED lights, so you see them coming too.
Just break them things off.
This is actually this is one of the 2 full-size drones I have, and they actually fly really well. They have high-definition cameras on them. They're good little things, but yeah, you're not sneaking up on somebody with them.
But I mean, at the same time, you say that, and there's people buying these over-the-counter drones, and they're modifying them to make them silent and.
Oh yeah,
unseen.
and if you spend enough money, you're getting silent ones. I mean, there's like 700. If you're spending $700 to $2,000 on your drone, you're getting silent drones. Like this one, if I had paid full price for it, it was like 120. I paid like 60 for it because they sold it to me for cost. It's a fun thing to play with. It really works. I mean, it flies really well. The other high definition full size drone I have flies really well. The 2 mini drones I have don't fly all that well. And this is small. This is small compared to a full size drone. I mean, this is a full size drone, but it's on the small end of a full size.
You need a
The
real.
attention span I have, I couldn't get into stuff like that. I don't know. I just get bored very easily.
I'm not flying them to do stunts and shit, right? Like people do all the fucking flips and shit with them. That's not what I have them for. I have them to play with and do stupid videos with.
No, I get
So
it.
I mean, I flew one over the pool while we were in the pool doing a pool review, stuff like that. I've been trying to teach my wife how to fly them because I want her to fly it over the beer festival next year, just to get a picture of just to get a view of the beer festival from above.
Okay. No, I fucking see it now. Next time you do a beer Dweebs United and she learns this shit, she's gonna be flying a fucking drone through the basement to see what's going on.
She's gonna be flying.
That's why I'm not gonna buy the first. That's why I'm not gonna let her know the FPV version.
Everybody's gonna have a drone down in the basement doing beer reviews.
She's gonna fly it over a Chinese restaurant. You don't get a boner.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, for Paul and his boner. No, these are fun little things to play with, and I mean, if you get them cheap enough, they're fun to play with. If you get them too expensive, they're not. My mother actually damaged my other full size one. It's been taking me like 4 hours to get it to fly right, because what she did was she crashed it onto the roof of her house, and it fell off the roof of her house, bounced off her car, and hit the driveway. It still flies, but it's taken me a long time to get it to fly straight again.
Paul just added a few more comments. He says, "Camera dork talk. Where's Nick?"
This isn't camera dork talk a la Nick. This is
it's past
camera
11,
dork.
so Nick is not here.
Nick's sleeping.
Come on, Paul. Get with it.
He also says, "Dad rage. Knows no rational thinking. Dad rage." And he says, "The drones are coming. The drones are coming." He says, "Just attach spray paint cans to them, Ethan. You'll love it then."
Oh, Paul. You are so funny.
I think Ethan needs to focus more on things like getting Canadian beers like Orlac Schlee from Harveston. You know, he needs to really,
I heard that's from Canada.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, when I saw Knee Deep Brewing Company, I was like, I saw it, but it was on the same shelf as all the imports and Canadian beers. So I'm thinking maybe the store owner might have got it wrong.
Well, that's great. I'm glad I didn't sway you wrongly.
That's what I just assumed.
Yeah, well, there you go. You asshole, Ethan, you piece of shit.
Lee, I was going to say, you haven't brought up Innocent Gun yet.
What about Innocent Gun?
Gun loggers.
That post you posted on my Facebook saying I spelled it wrong.
Yeah, and you never replied. You just corrected it.
I know, and get this. I had the my first video I ever did of Innocent Gun Original with the clear bottle was spelled right.
Right back, guys.
But But when I did the other 2 or 3 reviews, well, I think the Toasted Oak was spelled right. But like the rum aged and the Irish whiskey one, I spelled them wrong. I was like,
I'm pretty sure Joe got after you for those ones.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
That's
after I
why
posted
didn't
those
go after
videos
you.
like months ago.
I didn't want to be an asshole about it. I didn't want to go after you every goddamn
that's
time.
why I wish someone would have told me earlier. Fuck.
Joe going after somebody for mistake? That's impossible.
Nah, that never happens. Never happens.
So, I just thought that was because when you posted it on Facebook, that's when it was like I was literally like, oh shit moment. Like I have 3 other videos that have been sitting on YouTube for months and months, you know. So it was just funny to see that. I was like, God damn it. So.
Hey, whatever.
But thanks, Lee. That's what I'm trying to say.
Ethan, what did you? I'm curious. I saw you post on Untapped. You drank a Kumbacher Ice Pack. What do you think?
It was fucking awesome.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of drunk, you know, so a little bit. Like, I wasn't, you know, shit-faced drunk. But I was like, man, this stuff is fucking good. And then guess what I did? I went on YouTube. I watched Matt's beer reviews. One of his first. It was like one of his first reviews, and I was like, "Oh, you spot on, baby." So
I love that fucking beer so much.
Yeah, you gave it like a 92 or something like that, or it was up there.
So much. I love that fucking beer.
I was like, wow, because like when I see Shelton Brothers, I'm just kind of like I don't know if this will be good. But then the guy that I go to the store, I was talking to him, and he was like, yeah, you should try it. It's pretty good. So.
Wait, when you say when you see Shelton Brothers?
Yeah, when I see Shelton Brothers, I haven't really picked up anything that great.
When I see Shelton Brothers, my fucking asshole fucking sings a song, and I get a boner. Like they're the major importer of all beers from out of the country. They're like by far the biggest. They're not a brewery. They just import beers from out of the country. Right. And they deal with so many fucking fantastic breweries. But yeah, that Kumbacher, like the whole Kumbacher line, like their other beers are okay, but the Eisbach, oh man, yeah,
I'm definitely picking up a couple more of those to put in the cellar. Those are pretty good. So,
a couple of comments from Paul here. I assume this is referring to my Orlak Schlee review. He says, "Can't believe you enjoyed that beer, Lee. Glad you did. Put Joe and I almost asleep reviewing it. Totally boring to me, but then again, we all have different tastes, so I'm glad you liked it." And then he says, "Anus and gun."
Yeah. Apparently, Paul, when he posts anus and gun, that was like his hint to me that I was spelling it wrong, but he never actually. But he would just say anus and gun, and I never caught on to it. So.
Yeah, me and my buddy Brad did we did the Orch Slee, and then Oladub 12, 16, 18, and like 21 in like a vert, just to do like a whole harvesting thing. And I actually thought the Orch Slee was my favorite out of the whole group. And then Paul and Joe were like, "Oh, it's gonna be great." And then he reviewed it and he said it sucked. I'm like, "Yeah, you fucking suck." It doesn't have to be a big, impactful beer to mean it's a great beer. This balance was so fucking spot on. It's not even funny.
It was really good. And then for me, this has come from a guy who like sort of the taste profile in it. Like a lot of the notes were not stuff I like all that much, especially like the whiskey notes, the Speyside stuff. I'm not big on that shit, but I still found it really good in that beer, and I found that it was a really good example of what Innocent Gun could fucking do if they could just put their beer in barrels for more than like 3 months, you know, like
or 3 minutes. Yeah, it's like, and it's that weird thing. It's like, it's such a it was actually a ramped up base lager. It wasn't a base lager, but it was ramped up. And you're talking about a style that like literally is tofu at that point. You're gonna leech off any flavor of anything you do with that beer style, and then get the balance that was there at such a light style with such a harsh. Listen, Scotch is fucking Scotch. If anybody drinks liquor and you'd be like, "I love liquor," and be like, "Drink this Scotch," you're like, "That's fucking poison." Like that's Scotch. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty much how people react to Scotch. So you're talking about a super impactful fucking flavor of a liquor that was balanced so well. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yep, I totally agree.
It's actually funny. My brother-in-law, he's pretty new to liquor, and I've just got him to start to enjoy, be able to enjoy Canadian rye on its own, and then I got him to try a Scotch, and then he's like, "Oh my God, this is fucking disgusting."
Well, the comparison between Canadian whiskey and Scotch is pretty much a sea change. Like it's like so different.
Well, and this wasn't even like just base Canadian whiskey. This was real rye. This was.
Yeah, Canadian rye has a lot more in common with bourbon than it does Scotch.
Yeah,
What was the Scotch that you gave him?
It's still a little bit more spicy than, say, just a regular Canadian.
Oh no, yeah, true. I mean, I'm just saying, like, even Canadian whiskey, like even the best Canadian whiskey, there is a noticeable difference between that and Scotch whiskey. Like, it's quite a jump.
Yeah.
North American whiskey. This is how I put it. Someone's like, "What's the difference?" North American whiskey is like putting rubbing alcohol on a slab of butter. Scotch whiskey is like putting rubbing alcohol on a Band-Aid. That's the difference. To me, that's pretty much how it works. Of course, there's nuances within all the stuff.
No, I was asking him what the Scotch was that he gave him.
Well, he gave him Canadian rye, which is rye whiskey from Canada, which is somewhere in between like a English and a bourbon. It's just Canadian rye bourbon is basically what it is, right, Lee?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's not quite as strong as bourbon, but it's a lot stronger than like a basic Canadian whiskey.
Yeah. But what was the Scotch you had?
Well, actually, if I'm being honest, it wasn't a true Scotch. It was actually Amrut, which is an Indian whiskey, but it's the same thing as Scotch.
But
it's not.
It was a single malt Indian whiskey?
It's a single malt Indian whiskey, which in everything other than being made in Scotland is the same as a Scotch whiskey.
Well, yeah, no, and I'm not trying to be insulting saying this, but no, it's not
Jameson
Scotch.
chiming in.
There is something called terroir that is actually pretty much very significant when it comes to Scotch. Like, there's a reason there's different regions in Scotland for Scotch whiskey. There is very distinctive taste and flavor profiles that come out of those regions, and India is definitely not one of those. That's why it's not Scotch. But I mean, but still, I'm gonna say
unless you're talking about the Isla ones where they have their very distinct flavors. It's pretty close.
Scotch, there's this Islay peat moss fucking craziness. There's fucking Speyside leather. When you're talking about, let's put it this way, Greg, have you ever had a porter from Japan?
No, I haven't.
Well, you would know if you did. Because it would just lack that vibrance in that body.
And here's the thing, I'm not even trying to be a dick about it or anything like that. I'm not trying to insult you or anything. I'm just saying, fucking a single malt whiskey you have from India is going to be totally fucking different than a single malt whiskey you have from Scotland. I mean, it has to do with the region, it has to do with the grains they have, it has to do with all that stuff, the soil, the water, everything. Just totally fucking
different. This one was Amrut Fusion, so it's actually made a lot with actually Scottish grains. It just happens to be distilled in India. But I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't claim to have the greatest palate in the world, but it tastes pretty similar to Scotch to me.
But I mean, I don't doubt that there would still be that kind of significant like change between a single malt from India compared to the rye whiskey from Canada. I mean, it would probably still be as significant as if you tried a Scotch, and compared it. So, I mean,
that's the thing, is regardless, I think just single malt in general is just a lot stronger than, and also this is 50% alcohol, whereas the rye he tried, I think, was 40% alcohol.
Yeah, yeah.
Big difference.
Speaking of hard liquor, Greg, I gave you a shout out in my last video. I didn't know if you saw it or not.
I haven't watched it, but tell me which one and I will watch it.
It's the most recent one, so it's the tequila barrel aged. OKC.
I will totally watch that one. I haven't been watching a lot of YouTube videos.
I was like, Greg, follow. So.
Well, you know what? If
I wouldn't watch that.
Okay, gentlemen. Good night. I'm gonna take off.
All right, Matt.
Have a good one, Matt.
Good
Have a
night,
good
Matt.
night.
Have a good night.
Sorry that we bored you.
Yep.
Well, we're down to 5 viewers and 4 cast members, so I'm gonna say this is a wrap for tonight. We'll chat a little bit offline because we always do.
Wait. I have one more thing to say.
Oh, what the fuck do you have to say, Mister?
He's gonna save us.
Mr. Mustache. Testicles. That is
Ooh,
all.
testicles.
The only thing I have to
guys.
say is,
Bye.
anyone still watching? Fuck you!